Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by Infinite. It's a fitness fantasy RPG that transforms every workout into an epic quest. Every set becomes a strike. Every rep chips away at a monster. Every workout earns you XP. All of this is available for you with Infinite. You just score 10% off with code LASTSTAND at fitnessfantasyrpg.com. Even the bronze tier is free, so there is no excuse not to start. Play Infinite. Become the hero of your fitness story. Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today. Welcome to episode 234. I had to double check of a Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Well, I'm coming in a little rough here.
Take one vacation, don't know how to act.
Yeah, jeez, dude. Holy smokes. Wow.
Good,
okay.
You're
well,
good. You're good.
We keep rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I'm joined by the much sharper and more ready to work than it appears I am, Lord Cognito. How are you doing today, sir?
Chilling, man. Chilling. I'm good. I'm just getting roasted by the current anime community for my old man takes on current anime. For what I was told, this ain't even that current.
Oh, Bleach? Yeah, no. Bleach. Well, yeah, Bleach is pretty old. At least what you were watching.
Yeah, so new for me, but I guess they try to get me up to speed on all the things I've missed. So I've been very slanderous.
Your reaction during that fight scene was perfect because it really was this like, yeah, stab him. Yeah, this should have been over 10 minutes ago. That is every anime fight, especially in shonen anime, which are known to be hundreds of episodes. Like they talk through their every move and they announce their every strategies and their every weakness and strength. Yeah, it's pretty incredible, dude. You haven't seen the half of it either. It's so funny. Some of them.
Bro, it's so funny you say that because I felt sorry for that community. Let me tell you why. Addict is a saint. He cut it so that it's like back to back to back to back. Apparently, like if some of these scenes that is all this pontificating, then that's the end of the episode.
Oh yeah,
and they made dudes wait.
Dude, DBZ is like a great example of like fights through dozens of episodes where just some of them are like standing off, talking to one another, flashback sequences, and when the first move is about to be taken, cut. Like the episode's over.
Bro, this right here is a hustle. They know what they do.
That's a good way of putting it, yeah.
Yeah, they create cool character, you know what I mean? Establish power levels and lore and all type of stuff. But yeah, the Bleach joint, I was just like, man, they got to break down every move that they doing and got to let you know.
It does not trust your intelligence in the slightest.
At all.
Nope.
But I must say, I am enjoying it. People are loving my commentary, just a take as someone like fresh to it and stuff like that. So they got a lot of stuff. I heard they got a solo leveling for me. They got Attack on Titan. They got
Attack on Titan's sick. Attack on Titan is like the one that is the standout in my opinion because it does none of that. It is very much just like it's not like I'm gonna shoot you with this because you're weak to it and this is how I got it. Like they just hack each other up and they're like, fuck it, let's go. It's really good.
I will give the Bleach community this because I've been very slanderous on modern anime. Like if I see like blue hair and whack fit and like, you know me, I go in, right? So I will say their fits were a little bit more traditional that I could get with.
Yeah, I figured you'd like that.
Samurai traditional, and I saw a little ninja here and there, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, so I will give the Bleach community that.
Oh, Bleach is sick. Yeah,
but man, bro, I had some slander still. I had some slander for them.
The recent Bleach game that came out a couple months ago was really good too. It came out in March. Yeah, it was really good. So if you really go full blown anime, I got a game for you, brother. I got so many for you.
Yeah, started trouble.
No, they really want to put you through something. It'd be so funny to watch you play Ultimate Ninja Storm. Those fights are way better in the anime itself, and then have you like compare and contrast those, like the actual Naruto fights in the shonen versus the Ultimate Ninja Storm. It'd be incredible.
But anyway, enough about me and it. First of all, how are you doing? How's the vacation? Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
You know what I
Thank
mean?
you.
And I forgot to mention that to you earlier. Actually, I said it before and then obviously, after. But yeah, how's the trip and how did you celebrate?
So I was in North Carolina for 4 or 5 days, and God, dude, I love it there. Oh my God, man. We stay around Wilmington, and it is like the perfect place. It really, I mean, first off, just very Maddie coded in some ways. Like retro game shops are crazy. Went to a place called Game Giant, and I got Silent Hill 1 and 4, among a couple other things, but their stock is sick. People there are really good. Nice. They also gave me like a 10% discount, which is really nice of them, which in the retro community is hard to come by, man.
Do we flex on Mr. Matty Plays?
Well, one of them does know me, but I don't think they give me the discount because of that. I bought like close to 5. It was my birthday. Look, 30th birthday. I felt it was the right thing to do. So I kind of treated myself hardcore. And they didn't know it was my birthday, so I don't know if they were doing right by me because they know I made a video about their stuff last time or not. I really don't know. I didn't ask, and I know sometimes when I step in these stores, I'm kind of stepping into like potential recognition, so I try not to wave the flag and get the discounts and all that stuff because I think it's the best way to assess these stores and give people who live in the area good recommendations. But they're really good. They did give me a little discount, which was really nice of them. And then I went to Video Game Time as well in Wilmington. And that was originally in the cargo district, which is like literally shipping crates that stores are in.
Oh, wow.
They were originally in that area, near that area. They moved, though, to a store that's near a place called Retroscape. And Retroscape, you'd think is sick. I haven't been there yet, but it's kind of irrelevant for people like me who have this stuff. But basically, it's like a party room you rent out, and it's decorated like a 90s bedroom. And it's got all the old games and all the old consoles. And so you get people together, you rent a room, and you just play games all night. And they're right next door to this retro game store. And I'm like, dude, this is fucking insane. Like, this place is out of a dream. So they've got that. They've got tons of vintage clothing stores everywhere.
Damn.
And I like to buy my stuff, secondhand and whatnot. And so I did a lot of vintage sports shopping. I'm wearing my Mark McGuire.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Classic. Bash Brothers Day.
This is a starter one too, bro.
Wow. I haven't seen that logo that many, bro. Back in all my day, that logo rang bells. There's a lot of people. We used to have they used to call them the starter jackets, where they'd be the team hoodies and the winter coats.
Yeah,
you had to be careful wearing those. They were a very coveted item. That's all I would say.
Yeah,
people love starter.
And vintage clothes used to be. I say used to be because I remember when we went last year, vintage clothing was on like the up, and I mean, bro, you'll find some shirts that were like $200-$300. They have gone so far down in price, which is nice because it's how it should be. No one wants to pay like $90 to $100 for a thing from like the 90s to wear. But it was like really cool going to these stores, and I was seeing like sweaters from like And1 sweaters. And I remember as a kid, I thought And1 was whack. And I saw this same exact long sleeve shirt I know I had as a kid. I was like, that shit is still fucking whack. I was like, I'm not buying that from nostalgia. But dude, when I saw the Mark McGuire shirt, I was like, I am all over that. I got an Allen Iverson jersey, Sixers jersey.
Oh, you took it back.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to I've been slowly over the last year, like retooling my style to something a little bit more 90s, a little more vintage, early 2000s, because that's kind of in, but also like I just like the fact that it's even slightly in. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm going for it because like this is what I want to wear anyway. But the price held me back. So when I pulled up to this one store in the cargo district, and they were like, yeah, everything here is $25. Laylee found a Beatles shirt that's like $300 online. And it's insane. I got a Coke shirt that says always jamming on it. That was like a $90 shirt. So, we did really well out there. Nice. But these are just a couple of reasons why I love Wilmington. And dude, we went to what is it called? The Riverwalk. And I got to put people on to this restaurant. If you are in, you could be anywhere in North Carolina. You got to go here. It's a place called, apologies if my pronunciation is wrong, Yosake, Yosake. This is like a
Wilmington?
Asian cuisine in the Riverwalk.
Downtown sushi.
And Laylee reserved us a time, and shout out to her parents who gave us a gift card there. So, dinner was on them. We went there for an Asian cuisine because her mom recommended it. Her mom's like a foodie. So we were like, all right, let's check it out. bro,
Yeah.
the best meal I've had, like potentially ever. Like,
wow, it looks cool.
holy shit, dude! This crab rangoon was out of this world. They had ribs that were to die for. Also went to a place, wanted to get that Southern hospitality going. I went to a place called Mima's Chicken and Ribs. Such a nice lady, bro. She was so, because we called them because I think we were supposed to go somewhere else for dinner, but like they canceled our reservation or something went south. I don't know. But then we called this place and they like held an order for us. Like just really, again, super helpful, super nice. And, they had incredible Southern barbecue and like just really nice staff, like coming out like, hey, how's the food? Like, I love that stuff. Like definitely a smaller business, but just really nice people, man. And, and just made me feel wanted there. It was really awesome. So the food was incredible. And yeah, I loved it. It was just really happy being there.
Nice.
The place is just so great. I just can't recommend anyone visiting there enough. And yeah, it was a little like weird, like I was turning 30. So I, there is that level of, I'm always a little disassociative on my birthday, a little bit. I don't try to do it because I feel like it sounds a little pretentious. Like, oh, it's my fucking birthday. Oh, but it's tough for me. I don't know. I feel, I feel like a lot of my identity growing up was like, you're doing really great for your age, but now you're 30. It's like, you're just of age to be doing well. And it's like,
transition.
It's like a transition. It's like an ego, to be honest, like a confidence thing. It's like, okay, who am I? Like I literally immediately started to have some of those thoughts and I was like, okay, I need to settle down. But yeah, it was like a little bit of that. I also got to say a lot of people forgot my birthday. So I was feeling a little off about that. That was a little sad. But I'm very thankful for my wife who made it like a day I'll always remember. Just really, taking me out to all my favorite spots, going out to eat, going out game shopping. She's like, it's your day. Let's do everything. It's all, she's wonderful. I love her to death. So, of course. That made it infinitely better. And I was really happy by the end of the day. And then I finished Death Stranding.
We're going to talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
I want to circle back to the birthday thing. And it's just that, I guess for me, when I look back, in terms of like myself, the way I handle it and stuff like that, I'm very bad about over the years, like kind of recognizing the day for myself, like, and then I would kind of like wait on others to be like, hey, it's your birthday. And I remember I would get down when people didn't remember. And then what I started to do, like I would say last maybe 10, 12 years, I was like, you know what? No, you got to actually, celebrate it, like, at least recognize it for myself. And be like, yo, I made another day. I made another year. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. And then that kind of helped me. And I actually really like doing that. But I remember, I know what you're saying, because for a majority of my life, I used to feel that way. Like, damn, ain't nobody hit me. You know what I'm saying? And you
want a
that
someone. Normally, I don't care. But when like actual close friends didn't hit me up and stuff, I was like, definitely, yeah, bro. I don't mean to vent on the show, but I was definitely like a little... Yeah, I was like, I was feeling a little bit off. So but my family reached out, and that's what matters ultimately to me. And I've been in this phase of my life approaching 30 where I'm like, yeah, you just start to recognize who really cares in your life. And I think that's part of getting older is what I'm accepting is like my friend group is different from when I was 10 to 20 to 30 now. And so I'm just kind of in that shift now where I'm not melancholic about it, but I'm staying open-minded and accepting of sort of what hand is being dealt to me and kind of valuing myself as a person enough to say like, all right, I'm just gonna, not turn a blind eye, You
got to make it about, again, in my opinion, just, being thankful and actually recognize how far you come. Like you've been through a lot, and also how at a young age, right? Where you are now, right? Into your middle, kind of that middle area of your life. And I miss 30s. 30s is fun. 30s. That's what
I hear. That like 30s are your 20s, but better. So I'm excited. Like I should make that clear. I don't want to drag the mood down. I am excited. Just that day was like a little roller coastery, and like I kept it positive, and Laylee really made that possible. The next day I did talk to her, and I was like, yeah, it was a little sad. So people didn't like reach out, yada yada yada. So we talked about it and stuff. But overall. Just a really incredible trip out there, and just felt very refreshed on the way back. Came screaming back down to earth though, because our AC broke yesterday. And as you know how hot it is.
It's 102.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah, dude. So I come back to our dogs acting like different beasts, which was really weird. They just came back like my parents watched Rufus and Laylee's parents watched Forrest, and that's happened multiple times before, but they came back like transformed men. They just came back like Forrest was very just anxious, and Rufus was very much like Rufus is good now, but the first day he's a little on edge, and I was like, what, you guys like, we leave you for 4 days and this is what happens?
Yeah.
So
like,
we had to
adjust. How? Like, what you mean? Like not like what you mean?
Forrest has always been a bit of an anxious dog. Very shaky. And so you kind of have to like pet him a little bit extra, take good care of him. But I mean, he was like on one when we came back. We're like, okay, like we just like he'd be whining really loud. We're like, are you in pain? Like, is everything okay? And so like we just had to take care of him, but like he's good. And then Rufus was just kind of like, rat terriers are a very interesting breed. They're very much like, they'll show you how they feel. And so like Rufus was like turning his back to me. So, he was like, yeah, you left me.
Okay. I got you. I got you.
So we had to repair some bonds on the return home. I'm like, guys, really? Like, you're really going to do this the moment we get home? And then, attitude. Like I said, the AC busted. So yesterday it was a hot one. It was 85 in the house. Which is crazy. Yeah, in the house.
Crazy.
So we fortunately, shout out to the repair dude showing up and making things happen. And the better news was that he didn't just do a quick recharge. He's like, yeah, you're gonna have to do more, but this will get you through the night. He was like, no, like it's not broken or anything. You're good. Like, this was just a maintenance that you're gonna have to be on top of every year, which is my fault at the end of the day. So
all good.
Yeah, it was a big crash back into coming home and just like, get to work, sir. You got a lot to do. So it's been a couple of days here, but it's been really good otherwise. So I'm appreciative of the time I had in North Carolina.
Salute.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by Infinite, and my goodness, are they a perfect partner for the Health is Wealth crew. Ladies and gentlemen, you've played a lot of RPGs before, no doubt. We're going to talk about a few in this episode, everything from Last Defense Academy to Expedition 33, but you've never played the RPG known as Infinite, and we're here to tell you why you should. It's a fitness fantasy RPG that transforms every workout into an epic quest. Every set becomes a strike. Every rep chips away at a monster. Every workout earns you XP, and you do so by doing the following. You create your avatar. You pick your class, whether it be powerlifting or a hybrid of like bodybuilding and powerlifting. It's up to you. Then you choose your mastery, like fire for fat loss or lightning for power, earth for muscle, whatever you want to target with your body. Maybe you're new to working out, which a lot of Health is Wealth write-ins we get are new to working out. So you can use the Academy for pre-built workout plans with group-driven progression. All of this is available for you with Infinite. You just score 10% off with code LASTSTAND at fitnessfantasyrpg.com. Even the bronze tier is free, so there is no excuse not to start. Play Infinite, become the hero of your fitness story. All right, Cog, let's get into, I guess that really was Health is Wealth, but we got more from our audience here. Let's chat with Raisin. It's maybe a familiar name to some of you. Raisin is the ultimate Forza bro.
Oh, yeah.
There's no one more Forza bro than Raisin. We asked last week after he reported some very scary Forza Horizon 5 hours to please follow up with us on his gaming rapport. Now, to be clear, I've not read this. I just saw his first two sentences and I went, oh, okay, we're going to get the live reaction to this. So he could have wrote anything in here. He says, hello, Maddie with the fatty and Sir Cog, First Shield of Rosaria. I'm following up with y'all from last week in relation to my damn near terminal case of Forza Bro syndrome. 275 hours on PS5 and counting, by the way. So he's played more since we last spoke. He's letting us know. Let's begin by answering some of y'all's questions. I am from America. I live in Idaho. I'll be 30 in August. What other games do I play, Maddie? I'll answer this by telling you what games I am currently looking forward to. All right, we're already off to a bad start. We'll talk. Death Stranding 2, currently playing. I love my Tri-Cruiser. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4, Mafia: The Old Country, Ghost of Yotei, Wreckfest 2, Little Nightmares 3, Reanimal, and Power Wash Simulator 2 are all games I'm looking forward to. Cog, I do not have a crew. What? That's right. I've put 700 plus hours into Forza Horizon 5 all by myself. Haven't joined a single convoy. No, Maddie, Expedition 33 did not do it for me. Perhaps if they did add a car, I'd be down. Something French, maybe a Bugatti. I'm sorry, Maddie, but I was too busy replaying a better game in Final Fantasy XVI. We'll talk about 16 later. Salute to COG for buying the game. Lastly, how could one put all these hours into a racing game? It's because Forza Horizon 5 is objectively the best racing game of all time. And unironically, in my top 10 favorite video games of all time, definitely better than Expedition 33. 33 Bugattis would have been better. But all jokes aside, thank you, Dukes, for making my weeks better. I've been a long-time LSM listener, but only recently decided to stop being a freeloader. Good day to you, Dukes, and have a sweating nervously holding my flashlight for my dad, hoping he doesn't yell at me screaming, I wish you were never born kind of day.
Yo, this man is standing on Forza Horizon business. I feel like
we gotta start with you. 700 hours, single player, no crew. Is this the video game before? Okay, so have you ever heard of the term raw dogging a flight?
Break it down. I've never heard this one.
All right. Well, actually, on our way to North Carolina, we had someone next to us raw dogging their flight. The idea, yeah, I know, right? Isn't it fucking crazy? The idea is that there's this group of like the younger generation, I can now say, that is getting on planes and they refuse to use their phones, switches, music. They just stare at the seat the whole time.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I'm not impressed. I think you're mentally ill. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, is this the raw dogging a flight form of video games? I played 700 hours of Forza Horizon 5 by myself. Come on. Am I crazy for thinking that?
Nah, I was, because it's the ultimate social game. So it was just like, you can play it solo for sure, but it's just like, I've never seen anyone be like, nah, I'm going to do the crew. Now, I will, in his defense, like Forza is one of those games that like, you get it and you just go, right? And you kind of go where things take you. You go to the next festival and whatever. But it's just like there's such a part of the camaraderie with just the crews and the fact that, the different system. Now, as far as that flight, that's just mental illness. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Like, I am not sitting on a 6 to 8 hour joint. First of all, 9 times out of 10, the natural plane entertainment is trash. Like they don't have it, right? Yeah. Where some seats don't have the screen.
We flew Spirit. I did not realize that they just give you like metal chairs with rubber on them and call it there, bro. It was 2 hours of pure agony getting there. My ass was so sore. I'm not even joking, man. It had fallen asleep like 3 times. I have never been more dialed in on my Switch. I was like, take me away.
Take me away, bro.
Like, this is hurting, bro.
Yeah, man. Shout out to you, Switch and thank God for the Ally. Oh my God. Like, where would I be? Like, it's to the point now where I do look forward when I do my little LA trips or whatever. Because I'm like, okay, this is 6 to 8 hours of catch up time. I'm gonna play a Windows Play Anywhere, Xbox Play Anywhere game or whatever, and then rock. I saw you get a little strand in on Ally. I saw you.
Ally.
I was like, yes, my man is getting things done.
I was thinking of you. I was thinking of you the whole way. I was like, this is the COG lifestyle. I'll have some updated thoughts on the ROG.
Okay, cool. And I can't wait. I can't wait to that part. So, for me, then it's become fun. But like you said, now that I know what the terminology of raw dogging is, bro, these kids is wild, bro. You got to use protection on your flight. But
I know.
Headphones, a podcast, something.
Yeah, this dude was like, I don't want to sound judgmental, but like he just was just looking around the whole time, and I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, he had a phone on him. Like, I saw headphones around his neck, but he just like literally raw dogged the flight because there's a generation that thinks like, oh, this is me breaking my dopamine cycles and shit. I'm like, bro, like, fix it in your day-to-day life then, not on the fucking flight. Like,
not even
you really have to be isolated like 30,000 feet in the air to be doing this. Like, I don't know,
yes, man. That's a different level. Like, salute to them. I wish I could do something like that. At least at very minimum. Okay, you took a nap, right? You're like, all right, I'm gonna catch up on some sleep.
Yeah,
whatever. But just kind of staring into the ether.
My lifelong dream though is to get on a plane and fall asleep before we take off and then wake up when we've already landed. I feel like that's got to be, there's people who can do that, and I feel like that's got to be the most incredible feeling.
It's amazing.
I've tried so many times, like, I'm gonna stand up all night, I'm gonna pass out on this flight. Nope, never works.
Adrenaline or nerves or
not even the nerves. It's just like sitting up while sleeping. My body's just like, nope. try to lean back, try to like, I remember flying home from San Diego. I had a blessed flight where I had a whole row to myself and I went, this is the flight. I'm going to sleep 6 hours on this thing. I laid flat on those seats, bro. Didn't sleep a wink.
I know. Because what it is, the body knows this is not ideal.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you just can't drop off. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's crazy. So back to Raisin here. We now know that he plays other video games.
Yeah.
Death Stranding 2. I mean, there's something interesting about that, right? He's walking a lot, but he's also driving a lot. You know, he's got two different extremes here. Although I wonder how he, he says he loves his tri-cruiser. So I'm thinking this, man. he's riding his trike and everything. He's going crazy with Death Stranding. But it looks like you got taste, Raisin, so we won't cook you up too much for that. I'll ignore your Final Fantasy XVI comment, and we appreciate you following up and just being honest about where you're at. It's a top 10 game of all time, and for that, I'll leave you be.
All right.
Greg Welch, next right in here. Anytime I can help someone out with this, I absolutely want to. He says, hey, Dukes, this is a health is wealth write-in. I have a friend who seems to have the exact swaying issue you had, Maddie. He went on a gondola lift and after started experiencing a swaying feeling that is always present. He's been told that his symptoms don't line up with vertigo. No, you had this issue. You tried a lot of different things, but I couldn't find a clip that kind of summarized everything that helped. I was hoping you could go over all the things that you think made a difference. And yeah, man, like this you're talking about like a 3-year witch hunt for me, man. This shit was ridiculous. So a couple of things. I learned mine was a lot of things combining at once. So it could be, it's not going to be any of these one singular things. Like one was eye strain for me. So when I started wearing my glasses more, my little Potter glasses.
I like that.
When I started wearing those more, reducing eye strain, my swaying went down. Big thing for me was stress. Stress was huge. I didn't realize that until I actually went to a spa for a few days with Laylee. And we were just sitting, Sojo Spa Club, by the way, I shout it out all the time, but Sojo Spa Club is like just, y'all got to take a day trip there, man. It's unbelievable. But we should go sometime, Kyle. That'd be awesome.
That'd be dope.
But yeah, this is a wonderful place and just completely decompresses you. That was the first time I went, wow, I'm not swaying. Okay. So that was a big one for me. I realized, I'm in my most relaxed state this weekend. There's a connection there. So I started to realize, okay, my work is doing this for me. I'm using my head a lot. I'm thinking a lot. I'm always like engaged. I need to rest more. So I started doing that. Really dialed back my symptoms. Diet was another one. I had to do, this was probably the most extreme thing I had to do. And I don't know how other things I did had more immediate payoffs. This was more like a could be, couldn't be. So I'll just mention it. I went on an elimination diet. I went on an elimination diet because I was diagnosed with vestibular migraines. I know I have those because one of the things they say, if you have vestibular migraines, you have to take is magnesium, like a magnesium supplement.
Yeah.
If I don't take that, I get migraines that wipe me the fuck out, dude. It's terrible. Terrible.
Awful. My best friend gets those. It's awful.
Awful. So just like pain behind the eyes. It literally feels like you're sitting there like something's wrong with me. I'm dying.
Yeah.
Like it's that type of pain.
He's just so bad that anytime he comes visit me, I have Excedrin extra strength on deck. I'm like, bro, okay, I already know. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. But
yeah, dude, it can get you really good. Fortunately, the magnesium keeps it at bay and it helps relax the brain. Take it at night before you go to sleep. It's been bulletproof for me. When I don't take it though for a few days, I start to feel it. It starts to creep back in.
Gotcha.
So that's another thing. I think one of those four will likely lead you down a rabbit hole that'll kind of get you to your solution, especially if you're getting the swaying feeling from like, for me, like the first time I experienced it was actually the night I got engaged. We went to a place in Niagara Falls. It was called, what was it called? Very tall restaurant though. It was a up in the sky, slow rotating restaurant. There's
I know one of those in Seattle. Yeah.
Forgetting the name of it. Damn, I'll look it up in a second. But that's what triggered me. Like because I realized that was like post pandemic, so I hadn't flown in a while, and I went, oh, okay. So technically, I've been this high up in the sky in a while, and I'm slowly rotating, and so that set off something in my body that normally, like when I fly, I take Dramamine. Like I've had to since high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because what happens is when I get off the plane, I get that kind of like, have you ever been on a boat where you lay down after being on the boat and you still get that?
Where?
I noticed that I don't get it as bad anymore. I don't know if I really need Dramamine, but it's like one of those things where I don't really want to find out because
I mean, but there's a part that you kind of need to know now, especially how improved you are. I'm just curious to see how your body reacts, just in case, theoretically it may have been a crutch and now you don't need it. But I know what you mean. It's like it's always been that safety net for you. Yeah, that for success. So the fear of like, if I don't take it, I have this experience. I don't want to deal with that. I think
the short flights, I'm fine. I think if I was doing like a Cali flight, might take it anyway. But yeah, so I noticed I've had that before, like since I was a kid. Boats, planes, they just kind of fucked me up a little bit. It was definitely way worse when I was younger, and I always remember like E3 when I traveled without Dramamine. Like laying in the bed and just feeling like the plane kind of rocking.
Damn, it sucks.
And it was just, but I slept it off. You get over it after a couple of days. But like if you're like traveling to North Carolina, I'm trying to be on vacation. Like I don't want to deal with that shit. You don't want to deal with that.
No, I get it. I totally
especially when like Dramamine is like a very natural solid. It's like ginger, so it's just kind of like does something to stabilize your balance. That helps a lot. But yeah, I would say like look into your history a little bit. If you can, I mean, like I went to a couple of ear doctors, and I will say that I could not tolerate pretty much any ear exam they did. They are, as I've documented here on the show, something straight out of like medieval times. Like I'm just like, there's gotta be a way that you can figure this out without absolutely fucking my day up with like blowing cold and hot air in my ears for like 30, 40 seconds at a time. I mean, I couldn't tolerate it. And they said the reason you can't tolerate it is because you have vestibular migraines. I went, I don't know. I started to tell the doctor, I said, that is like science needs to evolve there. Like I straight up said, you guys need to figure something out, because I said, I think even if I didn't have vestibular migraines, I still would have had the same reaction. It was that uncomfortable. So, I mean, obviously you got to go look into these things and get answers from professionals. I just personally wouldn't wish that aspect on my worst enemy. For example, I had to get MRI of my head too, which this is extreme. You don't need that, but when we got the stand-up MRI where you can actually just sit in like a seat and I'm just like this watching Law and Order.
Dope.
Great. That's the technological evolution.
Advancements, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Bro, where I'm like, for people like Cog and I who just can't do that.
Can't do it, bro.
Yeah, like you just bad. So that was when we had no idea it might be migraines or something like that, and they thought I might have like something like a tumor,
serious,
or something. They were like, let's check your brain. Fortunately, came back all clear. I don't know. Again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know if what your friend has experienced beforehand or their medical history. That's where you got to talk to a doctor. But those are some natural ways I got to my solution. I did not need to go on medication. I talked about how on the show, how a doctor like was just kind of flinging medicine at me. I was like, I'm going to figure this out myself now, because I got enough answers. And the supplement, the increased rest, the glasses, and I did some eye focus exercises. That helped me a lot too. Basically, I set up like a 1, 2, 3, and 4 on small notes and a square on my wall. I taped it to my wall, and every day I'd go like 1, 2, 10 times, and then like 1, 3, 10 times, and like diagonally 10 times. And you just do like this sort of eye coordination exercise, and everything just reoriented itself properly. And it's not like it's a non-factor for me, but now it kicks in, as I've talked about with Cog. It kicks in when I'm like really stressed or really tired. And it's usually, I take it as my body communicating to me like, go to bed.
Yes, that could be a trigger. Yeah, you could be pushing yourself very hard, right?
Yeah. So, Greg, best of luck to your friend. If you're listening to this, best of luck to you. Hopefully you can get over it quickly, because it is a pain in the ass. And if it makes you feel any better, there's another YouTuber, prominent YouTuber who I spoke to, and he has the same exact issue. So I don't know if it's going to become a common thing in our workplace for people who use their brains a lot. I don't know.
Eye strain.
With the eye strain and combined with that, it could be something there. So check your habits too, is what I would say. All right, Cog, we got to correct some information from last week. We got to come back from my big birthday trip. Let me catch up on everything, right? My AC's breaking. Let me go to the Defining Duke community, who's always been known to just be so warm and receptive in the comments down below. Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
In all seriousness, I did fuck up. So let's read the write-in, and then I will write the record here. CT Fire. Hey, Maddie and Cog. Maddie, this one is for you. Put some respect on Final Fantasy XVI's name. Last week, you brought up an incorrect sales number for Final Fantasy XVI of 3.5 million through March 2025. The analyst who said this redacted it and apologized for the confusion. The only sales number officially given is 3 million in a single week on PS5, which had only around 40 million consoles at the time. According to Circana and GSD, Final Fantasy XVI initial sales were better than 7 Rebirth, which came out after 16 with a larger PS5 install base. Square has been pretty mum on sales figures since Final Fantasy XVI's Week 1 sales, so I doubt we'll get an official Xbox sales number. Last week, you couldn't understand people that don't like a variety of games. Well, I don't understand people who can't judge a game for what it is instead of what it isn't. I'll defend Final Fantasy XVI as a very good game for what it is. So just so it is clear, this should be read in a joking manner. I thoroughly enjoy listening to you both every week. You went so hard on 16 last week that I felt it deserved a response. Thanks for reading my rant. Have a great day. Rant earned. Yeah, I apologize. I got this one wrong. And especially, I did the worst thing anyone could ever do. I got it wrong confidently. I was so smug. So I do apologize. I'm sure it was a pain in the ass to listen to. Now, a couple things that I will not bend the knee on, though.
Let's go. Break it.
Because I want to make sure my apology is earnest. So yes. I did get it wrong. 3.5 million by March 2025. Incorrect. Mm-hmm. Only sales number, as CT Fire wrote, is 3 million. Mm-hmm. We have not gotten an update since then. It's a little bit tough to read, though, because some people are like, it's definitely a success. Some people are like, it's not a success at all. Like, I caused a war down there, unfortunately.
He caused a war.
I didn't mean to, but that's what happened. What's happening is we're kind of running off assumptions here.
Yes.
I think what we can deduce, though, is that Square Enix has kind of gone back and forth on this game. Like, it did not reach expectations. It did better than we thought it did. It did not reach long-term sales expectations. Like, it's kind of flip-flopped a lot. But if we apply in an Xbox podcast, Xbox logic here, which is what I read a lot in the comments, I think one thing we can agree on is no sales figures typically does not indicate, yeah, we're cooking right now. That, again, we always talk about Xbox, a player count. Where's the sales at, though? Probably because they're not great. So in 16's case, I did go very hard. So I'll temper it by just saying this. 3 million with no updates does not give me, ignoring Square Enix's like expectations, because they could have been like, we thought it'd be 13 million. It's like, okay, out of 40 million PS5s, that's a little insane. So we don't know where their expectations lie of how outlandish it was. Right. One updated comment I did read from them was that the initial sales did meet expectations, but the long tail didn't. A similar thing happened with 7 Rebirth, I believe it was.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that. Yeah.
And so what the takeaway from this is not that 16 is a failure, but that 16 and 7 and what happened with this series have shaken Square Enix up enough to change their whole business strategy.
Agreed.
Where they invested heavily and they got good initial sales because these games are great, but the long term has not kicked back to them like games usually do. A lot of people look at like month 1 sales and like, it's a success or it's a flop, and that'll always be a huge indicator. But there's many games with like sales and bumps. I'll give some actual data in a moment here that can give your games boosts long term. I have Steam Spy. So there's a Patreon that you can sign up to this for. I think it's $10 a month. A couple of indie devs put me on this because they said that these are numbers that you can trust. They seem relatively accurate when they compared it with their own games. So I've been signed up to it for a while. And I went, you know what? Like, I should check what Final Fantasy 16 has going on over there. Granted, these are estimated numbers. Right. Sorry, my tab is loading because I want to give an exact number here. There we go. The estimated numbers out of a release of September 17th, 2024 on Steam is 628,000, which is, I think, pretty solid. Now, I could sit here and run down the entirety of the Final Fantasy franchise and like where it kind of sits comparatively speaking. But what you'll realize with some of these I'll list out is that the longer they're on Steam, the better they end up doing. Like Final Fantasy VII gets ported to PC in 2013. It's now at this is OG Final Fantasy VII. It's at 1.6 million owners. Final Fantasy 13 is terrible on Steam, but it is released on Steam in 2014. It has 805,000 owners. What else we got here? Final Fantasy 9 is at 1.1 million. That released on Steam in 2016. The 10 and 10.2 remaster is also not great on Steam. That released in 2016. It has 1 million owners. 15 though, Windows Edition, Really great version, by the way. Has all the DLC and everything. It's kind of the ultimate edition. This released 2018. It's at 2.3 million.
That's the one with them with the car, right? The guys with the car and stuff. Yeah, I remember that one.
Oh, dude, that game's so good. I love that game. So what I kind of see here, my deduction, if it's worth anything to anyone, is that, and by the way, the estimate for 7 Rebirth, according to Steam Spy, is 557,000. And that was the top of this year, January 23rd, 2025, which is pretty good as well. Yeah. So my read is that I think a safe number to put Final Fantasy XVI at is probably 5. I think it's a little, I mean, it could be, I wouldn't be so stunned if it was underneath 5 million.
Right.
Because we're assuming if we're taking the number Square gave us 3 million, and then we're looking at 16 on Steam, we're at 3.6. Xbox might have added another 100,000. And I think it's fair to assume as the PS5 library grew and as the game went on sale that this sold another 1 million copies.
Right.
4.5 to 5 million is pretty all right. But I think the reality is what I sized up earlier is you look at Final Fantasy 15, a multi-plat release, which was, I think, 5 million in a single day.
Right.
So to my point earlier, while I was confidently incorrect about 16's sales numbers through March 2025, and I admit that, there is a conversation, I think, to be had without me being arrogant about 16's performance on the market as an exclusive title, what Final Fantasy can do as an exclusive game versus what it can do when it's everywhere. Yeah, and I think 15 versus 16, whether what you feel about those games doesn't matter.
Right.
It's just that, which I did include in my assessment, is that 15 as a multi-plat game with a lot of marketing behind it did really well, explosively well. Yeah. And even where a re-release, according to Steam Spy, pushes 2+ million units.
Wow.
I also think there's just an adoration for 15 among myself and many others, even if the combat isn't great. It's just such an endearing game. The DLC is really good. But yeah, that's the that's the record corrected Final Fantasy 16. Apologies for the tough listen last week. I know it drives you all up a wall. Drives me up a wall too. But hopefully with what I've provided here, we have a better conversation about 16. And of course, you'll let me know if I missed something in all of that. I hope not, but you never know.
He's a man about it. And look, at the end of the day, I like how you handle it. And I also like, the fact that I think the moral of the story is like when you use the 15 to 16 comparison, is, hey, look, I think it's very simple. Like, hey, they want this everywhere to maximize those type of sales and revenue and profit. And I think that part is apparent, regardless to where exact lands. And obviously we don't have Circana because it seems like most of these companies, that's who really gets the hard and fast data that where contractually they have that set up already, that they get the numbers, they know what's going on. Yeah, it's a fun thought exercise, and we're just speculating on some things, but I think your ultimate conclusion of why this is happening is where I've landed from the very beginning.
Yeah, there's an article from, Game Developer that says Final Fantasy 15 has sold 10 million copies. This is, again, by May 2022. So the game came out in 2016, so 6 years later. So I just think the reality right now is 16 isn't showing as strong of a curve.
What?
Now that it's everywhere, maybe it will, but I'm curious if 16 has a strong curve. Yeah. Now that it is everywhere, there's no more like, when's it going to be everywhere? It's there now. It's on Xbox, it's on PC, it's on PlayStation 5.
And they're discussing Switch.
Oh, yeah, that too. Good point.
Developers are such a Switch. And we got to talk about that because we saw some interesting stuff about Switch and their third party.
Sales data. Yeah, I got that right here. Yep. Yeah, we will talk about that. But anyway, thank you everyone for listening. Hopefully that corrects everything. I think it does. But for now, we move over to Xbox territory. A new Halo game is releasing, kinda, and Cog, I gotta be honest, once you see the trailer for this game, why don't you watch it real quick?
All right, let's see what's going
on. I want you just to tab through this thing and tell me if this is not my worst nightmare, fan game or not.
Hey, yo. Halo Spartan Survivors?
Does that name remind you of another Survivors title that a certain head of a gaming initiative really likes?
Oh,
it's a Halo Vampire Survivors
had a baby. Yeah.
And so there's no wonder that the news has broken this week that Halo Studios and Xbox, in a very cool move in all seriousness, have reached out to this fan game and have given them their blessing to release on Xbox and PC. The exact quote from a representative at Halo Studios said, "We really love to see the passion you and your team have poured into this experience. It is really fun, and we look forward to getting further into our playthrough and unlocking more stuff." To make sure the game will always stay compliant, they requested us, the developers, to add a minor update to the legal disclaimer in the game's credits and store pages. This will be available in our next update, and we want to thank Halo Studios and Microsoft for the real sympathy toward us. So, yeah, it is a Vampire Survivors Halo game, and it's out now on Xbox, Steam, and itch.io, and it's got the blessing of Xbox and Halo Studios behind it, which is pretty hilarious. But it's also, again, in all seriousness, very cool that they did this. This is something that, with many fan projects, mods from Bethesda Game Studios, Sonic Team mods, like people want these fan projects to become real games, and Xbox and Halo Studios have allowed that. So I hope this maybe plants a little bit of a seed in some executives' heads on, how they can further nurture a fan base that's maybe a little bit down by giving them a Survivors-based title. I'm trying my best, man. Please take over.
Listen, man, I got to be careful because I'm going to get attacked. Because my slander previously, and I had Phil mad at me, but I was just like, look, bro, like, it ain't it for me, but I get it. You know what I'm saying? This is a popular thing, and this is what I will say. I hope it inspires other fan projects of other qualities and other different genres and stuff like that, and continue to expand the Halo universe. And I'm just waiting for the Halo Studios themselves to announce the next iteration, because I don't know if you've heard, someone brought it to my attention that the Halo account tweeted out like some continuation story of what's happening in Zeta Halo, which is after Infinite. And I'm like, oh wow, this is in books. Wow, the continuation, no DLC. We're gonna find out in books, and I was very disappointed. So I was like, I think shout out to Astro Parrot. He hit me. He's like, Cog, you're right. Looks like, they're not touching that Halo story, immediately next, because the book is going to be handling this. And I was just like,
do you know what? Is it this book that's on their feed right now, Contact Harvest? Is that it? Or?
I think so. Let me pull it. My man Astro Parrot hit me. And I was just like, man, I would have to find the tweet. I should have bookmarked the tweet because he sent it to me, and it just confirmed my greatest fear. Because actually, that Duke that we did, I must have got clipped remember we were talking about like, yo, what do you think? Because you made a good point. You were like, yo, Gears, Halo, do they go back? Do they continue? Yeah. And we both, I remember at that point, I'm like, bro, they're gonna stay with, E-Day and the prequel. They can milk that. And then with Halo, I was like, yeah, I don't really see them rushing back. And then right after that clip, that's when sent me the thing. And I got to get the name of the book. Is it Contact Harvest? Damn it, man. I wish I had it ready to go.
I see it here on their Twitter. They say, before the Spartans, before the war, it all started with Contact Harvest. This doesn't sound like a continuation, though, like you kind of described.
Yeah, what I'm talking about is, I guess, Zeta Halo specifically. And give me a second. I'll search for it during the show, and I'll find it. Because definitely Astro Parrot was the one that brought it to my attention. And he was like, yeah, Con, definitely not continuing. And I was like, oh,
is this it? Cannon Fodder returns with a new Waypoint Chronicle anthology novel announcement, a blurb reveal for Kelly Gay's new highly anticipated novel, Halo Edge of Dawn, and more fanciful fiction. Is this it?
I think so.
I'll link you, because if so, this is hilarious. Because it has the picture from Infinite. I already forgot this character's name. The pilot.
I was like, not like this.
Yeah.
Not like this.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man Astro Parrot. I'm gonna just do a quick Twitter search, and I'll get the exact.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. It's on November 7th, 2022, to mark the 10th anniversary of Halo 4, the first short story in a series that would come to be known as Waypoint Chronicles released. Somehow, that was 2.5 years ago. In that time, there have been a total of 17 short stories released celebrating notable game anniversaries, supporting the themes of Halo Infinite's ongoing operations and so on. Waypoint Chronicles have delved into many of the nooks and crannies of the Halo universe, places referenced and hinted at, but never seen, sowing seeds for the future and looking back at the past. With every release, we have noticed a common thread of feedback, the desire for a complete collection. Oh, you found it? All right. Yeah, this doesn't sound like it either.
Yeah, here you go. Let's see. So, Master Chief continues the fight against the Banished on Zeta Halo and Halo Edge of Dawn. Find out more
Oh.
about the novel and check out the full jaw-dropping cover as illustrated by Chris McGrath on Halo Waypoint. So continues the fight against the Banished on Halo in Halo novel.
Yeah, wait.
Edgewater.
Oh, God. All right.
Bro.
Listen to this description. I'm looking on their website now. 2560, after eliminating War Chief Escarum and sending the Banished leadership into chaos, the Master Chief continues the fight on Zeta Halo, accompanied by his new AI companion and their loyal pilot, Fernando Esparza. That's his name.
Yep.
As Spartans 117 searches for scattered Allied forces, a young combat medic tortured and imprisoned for months by the Banished and the enigmatic Harbinger may hold the key to unlocking deeper mysteries within this ancient ring world. But every step toward answers is haunted by sinister, elusive blade master Jaga Rodmai. I forgot how to say his name too, but the Spartan with the red sword, who is hell-bent on vengeance. Bro, what the
couldn't be a DLC though. Couldn't be a Halo Infinite DLC.
I'm actually, why am I stunned? But like I am.
Like my prediction came back true immediately. I was like, "Yo, Astro Parrot, shout out to you, brother. He threw me the alley oop." He was like, "Yep, they're definitely not doing it." And I was just like, "Damn, that sucks."
Yeah, they're restarting this shit. What the hell? Recommended revisiting. Edge of Dawn will ostensibly serve as a standalone story that any reader could jump into, whether this is your first Halo novel or you've been following along for years. Of course, December is a while away, so in the months leading up to publication, here are some stories you can explore for maximum context. The Halo Infinite campaign is the first one.
They listed
Rubicon Protocol. Follow the events of the battle for Zeta Halo through the eyes of other members of the UNSC Infinity crew as they evacuate to the surface of the ring world and must survive as they are hunted by the Banished. Building on the audio logs found in Halo Infinite's campaign, the Rubicon Protocol is the perfect way to get acquainted with combat medic Lucas Browning.
Bro, read the comments underneath it, though, people. Campaign DLC Infinite is still so tragic. Someone said, definitely Astro Parrot not continue in the game. They said, man, I wish this really was a story DLC for Infinite. Bro, no effing way this was put in a novel.
Halo's become more of a novel series than a game series.
Oh, it's just interesting because my thing is like, so now the question becomes, we're clearly pushing the story along in the book that you don't want to revisit. So what is the next Halo game going to be? Or is it, hey, you're going to get this Combat Evolved 1 back again, and we're gonna remix this bad boy because I'm just going to be hopeful that we're going to get another one where it's such a gap and then new stuff happens.
But now that they're continuing, I can't believe this is actually happening. Now that they're continuing the story in a book, literally, like this is the follow-up. This isn't not, at least in the let me check the recommended reading here.
Yes.
What is this shit called? Halo Rubicon Protocol. At least they say building on many of the audio logs found. I'm like, okay, like it's to the side enough, but this is like the follow-up. Like it literally, what the fuck?
What is this, bro? What is this? What are we doing?
Yeah, it literally says, after eliminating War Chief Escarum,
that's what pisses me off,
and sending the Banished leadership into chaos, Master Chief continues the fight on Zeta Halo, accompanied by his new AI companion and their loyal pilot, Esparza.
Yeah.
It's literally the sequel in a book.
It's literally a sequel to Halo Infinite. It's literally continuing Halo Infinite without giving us a game. Straight up.
You know what's really crazy, bro? I'm about to send you a screenshot that's going to piss you off something fierce. Hang on. Look at this shit. Hold on. Look at what the Halo series is right now. Hold on. This is from one author, might I add. Look at how many. Hold on. Right, I'm copying and pasting this screenshot here into our Discord DMs. Are there even that many games?
All right, let's see. You just said this right now to Discord. Okay, I see. Okay, bull. Wow. Look how many books, bro. We got a whole damn.
It's a literal archive.
This is crazy. Epitaph, Rubicon, Point of Light, Renegade, Smoking Shot.
And this is no disrespect to the Halo book bros out there. You're right there with the Forza bros. This is no disrespect because I've heard good things about the Halo books. But
bro, Joseph Staten got one of those. Contact Harvest. You see that? Wow.
Yeah, I remember The Flood. I remember seeing that as a kid. or First Strike. I had one of these in my collection because I just saw Halo and I was like, oh yeah,
this is the greatest book series going.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's like new slander just got unlocked.
Man, Halo. Hopefully, like I said, I'm gonna try to stay positive next year. What is it? The 25th anniversary.
You get your remake, yeah. I don't know about the main line though. I think they're starting over.
Yeah, I would just like a glimpse, man. Just give us a glimpse. If you're gonna bring the poncho back out. Remember when he had the poncho? They just said he would do it again. Give me something for the future at least, man. Damn.
Yeah.
Because again, I'll be honest. Like PlayStation guys, salute. You're gonna get Halo. You're gonna get Combat Evolve. Salute to you. That does nothing for me. For Xbox core guys, like. Been there, done that. That's old hat. Like you just remixing the remix. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I get it. My thing is like, when am I gonna get a new game? And that's just where I'm at. I really would love to continue the story and all these dope characters and where the hell is Locke? And there's so many things, man. So yeah.
And you know what's kind of hilarious? This was on my birthday. They dropped this news. They dropped this shit on my birthday. I'm so glad I don't have Twitter on my phone because oh my God. I would have been like, this is a sick twisted joke. Halo continues in a book. Our 34th. That's insane.
Bro, shout out to Ashton Farrell, man. I would not have I would have completely missed this if it wasn't him.
We're nothing without our fellow Dukes.
Yes, shout out to the Rub of the Dukes.
Well, this one's all you, I think. You'll have some thoughts. MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition announced. Let's read the article here from gamesindustry.biz. Xbox has announced a new VR headset designed in collaboration with Meta, the MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition. Corporate VP of Xbox Partnerships and Marketing, Lori Wright, said it would be a limited edition release as part of an ongoing partnership that celebrates the expansion of Xbox Cloud Gaming in beta on MetaQuest headsets. Over the past several years, Xbox has expanded the Xbox Cloud Gaming experience to more places and more players, Wright said. Since the announcement of the Xbox app on Quest, our goal has been to empower more people to play their favorite games whenever and wherever they want. Today, with the MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition, we are bringing this vision to life, good choice of words there, with a new design that celebrates Xbox's iconic aesthetic. The MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition bundle is available now for $400 US and comes with the headset, matching Touch Plus controllers, and a limited edition wireless controller, a Meta Quest Elite strap, as well as 3 months of Meta Horizon Plus and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. However, Xbox reports that you can pair any Xbox wireless controller or adaptive controller to the headset via Bluetooth. We're proud of what we've built together with Meta, and we can't wait for you to dive into everything the MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition has to offer, Wright concluded. Whether you're streaming the latest Xbox Game Pass Ultimate titles, exploring the ever-expanding world of VR, or kicking back with immersive entertainment, this is just the beginning of what's possible when great teams and great technology come together, end quote. Cog, we have the right in here. Germanos writes in, hello, Dukes. So since the Asus ROG Xbox Ally is considered the Xbox handheld, does that make the MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition an Xbox VR headset? How do we feel about Xbox conquering the VR market? Should we expect any major Xbox franchises to move to VR? Thanks, and I have a Mad Catz Xbox 720Y kind of day. Love all those terms there. Cog, your thoughts on what Meta's doing here with Xbox?
Yeah. Well, look, obviously, full disclosure, I am a little biased here. Obviously, this was an initial project that, I actually, during my time at Meta, was there for the partnership. It was there for the initial inkling of...
You were there shaking hands, greasing palms.
me, Zuck, and Satya in the boardroom. I made the deal. But no, all jokes aside, it was really cool to work on it because, you saw... obviously Xbox and that whole initiative, this is an Xbox and, them wanting to partner with Meta and then Meta, trying to establish their footprint. And let's be honest, they've kind of, won the VR war by default, in the sense that, everyone's kind of bowing out. And I don't know if you caught the news with PlayStation VR, which was pretty surprising with Beat Saber stopping support.
I did see what Dustin said about that. Actually. Yeah.
Big deal. Like Beat Saber is
the game.
Yeah, that's the de facto game. When they stop supporting your device, it's kind of not good. I'll just be honest, right? So kind of shows the commitment. And then also, let's be honest, Xbox got a lot of flack for not jumping into VR, right? Not having a dedicated device for initially saying that they were going to make one, right? And then they kind of pulled back from that. And I got to be honest, I think it was the right call. You know, it was one of those situations because if you look at, you know, what's going on, obviously PlayStation, Apple, and all these other people, like it just hasn't panned out. And even Meta themselves, right? They've been bleeding a lot of money during this initiative. So
let's put it
lightly. Like, exactly. I'm being very conservative with that. You know, so I got a lot of people over there, so I'm trying to be respectful.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, what the truth is, all right? It's just not taking off the way everyone thought it was going to take
honestly,
off.
Howie, maybe you could argue should have. Their games there are really good. They're like making high profile, like the experiences people said, like, oh, I'd buy VR if they did this, and they have like a whole big library of them. I
challenge people. Asgard Wrath 2 is literally a killer app. You know, the Batman game is amazing. Assassin's Creed VR is amazing. Y'all know how I go for Demio. Demio just also announced like a kind of like a what's the other popular the D&D collabo. They got a D&D joint that's coming out. That's great. Like I go hard for them. So to me, this was the perfect marriage. Xbox says, okay, you do it, right? You know, you hold, we will bring this. And one of my things that I was very impressed with, I was testing this during Quest 2 days. This is Quest 3, where the technology's got to be way better, is how impressive and little latency at that time. So now that's better. Obviously, Wi-Fi 6E and all this other stuff. Yeah. And then the thing that people don't realize, which is dope about it, is this. If you're kind of curious, it's like basically, imagine you in your room and you make 100-inch flat screen of you playing Xbox, and you move, and then you tap, you got color pass through, so you can see Rufus, you can see Layla, you can see everybody around you. It's literally like sticking right in your, bro, it is amazing. Now with this device, I'm torn because I already have the big boy Quest. This is like the Series S Quest. You know what I'm saying? So it's the new joint, but it's like, they don't got the pancake lenses, it's lighter, the battery life's better, right? I ain't gonna front though. Black with the controller. I'm like, bro, it's in my shopping cart 3 times. Like, oh, you already got the better device though. But the only thing that's tempted me is they keep saying limited time. So my concern is that the Xbox is just flirting, and we probably won't see another one again. Because my hope was they do like the Series X version of it, which would be the Meta Quest 3, right? Yeah. But yeah, man, it's really not. And then I will say, the value that they're giving, because they're giving the Elite strap, because the basic Quest comes with this kind of cheap cloth strap, you just kind of throw in your head. They give you the Elite joint. They give you 3 months of Game Pass, 3 months of Horizon VR. Like, this is tremendous value at that price. So this is what I would say. If you were on the fence and you needed something to push you, you were looking at Game VR, that's the device to get. There's no question. I wish, there's a part of me that wish I didn't have the big boy Quest, because I would have jumped all over it. And I still might jump
that, and then buy the new one.
I still might jump on it just because of the novelty of it, and it just looks so clean.
It does look nice.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. And yeah, man, like I said, I thought this was the right call for both parties, and it was very cool announcement. Again, something I was very proud to have worked on during my time with Meta, to see it come full circle. It's kind of dope. So, proud dad moment, saying, for me, something in the industry that I contributed to. It felt good to see.
Shit. Good shit. Yeah, no, I mean, MetaQuest 3 is awesome. I love the device. I wish I used it more, honestly. When I update my sheet, I do need to add a few VR games to like the backlog that I want to tackle, because there are some on there.
Asgard's Wrath.
I know, that's a Matty game.
That is the Matty game. That's the killer.
I wanted to support, by the way, to be
good.
I wanted to do my part. I was like, I know this is like exactly what I said. I don't know when I'll get to it. I was like, I know this is the game that like I held off on Asgard's Wrath 1, and damn it, they made a great looking sequel. So I had to put my money where my mouth was on that one. Mm-hmm. All right, Cog. This is one that we had. Was this on my birthday? I don't remember. But we had, no, this is a little after my birthday, but we had a little conversation about this one. SEGA leaked some interesting sales data here, and we've got the full breakdown here. GamesIndustry.biz writes, the figures recounted sales of most of Sega Sammy's gaming portfolio over the last 5 years, including Persona 5 Royal, Sonic Frontiers, and Team Racing, which have sold 7.25, 4.57, and 3.5 million copies, respectively. So that's just a little glimpse at it. I'm going to get some extra numbers here, which are as follows. Metaphor Refantasio at 2 million. Yakuza Like a Dragon so basically Yakuza 7, at 2.8 million.
Mm.
Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, 1.66 million.
Yeah, I got a reason for that. I think
Shin Megami Tensei 5 and Vengeance, 2.1 million. Team Sonic, 3.5. Persona 3 Reload doubled its sales from its launch week to 2 million. And Like a Dragon, the man who erased his name.
Who's the star of that one?
900K. Hey.
Who's the lead guy in that?
We're going to talk, sir. We're going to talk. Calm down. All right. So those are the sales figures there. Persona 5, king among them all. More than even Sonic. That's actually pretty crazy. I didn't expect that. So very impressive. This is combining 5 and Royal, but still very impressive to see how well it's done. So Cog, you look at these. What's the stunner for you?
I think the stunner for me, two things. Obviously, it just shows me the power of Persona, right? Holy wow, Persona is just something different, and that now I see why they keep coming around back outside. That's free money, you know what I'm saying? Like people love it; they're gonna support the remakes and stuff like that. Yeah, I was a little sad about Infinite Wealth because I felt like, don't get me wrong, 1.6 is all right, but it's just like, man, that game was truly amazing. And I think so many people didn't play it. And if I remember, that was the killer month. Was it like, I'm going to say, did Kingdom Come? That came out with like a ton of games in that February. Like major, I remember playing like 3 or 4 major heavy hitter games during that time. And
one of them was, I think, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, right? I think.
Because Infinite, I'm trying to think, probably Infinite Wealth came out around the same time as like 2 or 3 other huge games. And I just felt like, man, that should have been so much bigger if it was out of that February window. I remember it launching in like a February. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, man, it's tough. But yeah, that's what I look at. And then obviously, I look at Like a Dragon. Wow, 2.8, man. That's pretty impressive. Turn-based, new protagonist. And it's just like, seems so much more excitement and rejuvenation to the series, don't you think?
And like, man, what's missing from this is Yakuza 1 through 6. That's all I'm saying.
We got to put up the sales data from the OG.
Yeah, we got to see what OG was really doing before. I mean, clearly they had to hit a reset for a reason. That I will give Ichiban credit. Cog has won the war here because he is outdoing my man on paper right now. He is like, Kiryu had a standalone performance, and apparently it was fantastic. Cog was there. He played it.
And I supported your boy.
Less than 1 million of y'all showing up, though, for the spin-off games. And then Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, taking all that money from Like a Dragon and, I mean, putting it in a way that made it look really appealing to me. Like, new setting, you're in Hawaii, tons of mini games. You got both protagonists, different fighting styles, like the ideal sequel. They have a Animal Crossing mode. 1.66, it gets outdone by Metaphor in a shorter span of time. Gets outdone by Persona 3 Reload, just barely, in fairness. But they both released in the same month. Not really. I mean, you could look at it 2 ways. I think some people are looking at it in the bubble, not encouraging. But then there's the other bubble, which is these games are made ridiculously quickly.
Yes.
And if you are putting games out at this clip,
good point.
If you're selling like 1.5 to 2 million per year, I mean, that's fucking cash money right there.
Almost annualized in a way, right? It's like some of them did come out so fast. I don't know why it bothers me that Metaphor is not bigger.
I think that's
not that 2 is bad.
We just had a whole conversation, right? So let's revisit it, right? We had the conversation where it's like, damn, it hit Game Pass soon. Because we knew it hit the 1 million in one day. That's what they said. Day 1, 1 million sales. So literally from launch day till now, you've got an extra 1 million sales for a game that was like raved about, reviewed really well. And you know what I think it is, dude? It kind of goes back to what we talked about at one point, which is all these games. And there's games even today that we're going to talk about in some of our sales data. Any game within reason, of course, that's good enough, has the right marketing, can scream to 1 million sales. But they also come to a screaming stop after that. It's very hard to keep pushing beyond at that 1 million mark. Like there are very few Expedition 33s, which are in like a month, it outsells most games on this list, right? So I think that's what's happening. It's just because of time and so much good content and commitments and life itself. It's like 2 million is nothing to turn your nose up at for a new IP. I think that's a good start. But there's also something to be said about if you scream out the gate with half your sales day one, and then, about half a year later, you're doubling that, still pretty decent. But when you compare it to another, again, we just talked about Expedition 33, right? Same kind of scenario, comes out the gate screaming. Everyone's raving about it, does really well. But it kept going.
Yeah.
Sustained sales are tough in this industry, I think.
Good call.
And so I feel like to put it on Game Pass so quickly and then seeing this figure, I'm like, I feel like at least on one platform, it was not having great sustained sales where it was better to make up some of the difference in expectations by doing a little Game Pass deal there. But what's your read? How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, no,
I know you weren't liking it, but how do you feel about doubling your sales since launch day?
Yeah, look, man, I like the recognition. Look, 2 million is good for a new IP, and I get that, So for me, I think you made a fantastic point about long tail and about continuing to see that growth in the zeitgeist and stuff like that. And I think I pretty much agree with all your points, even in terms of like, the fact that I forget Sega, man, they're pumping out these things, especially Atlas. They're pumping out these things, fairly quickly.
Yeah, I mean, this is the same year as Persona 3 Reload, right?
Yeah.
And Persona 3 Reload has the nostalgia, the kind of the series brand to lean into. 2 million.
Yeah.
And I had a longer time on the market. So Metaphor in a lot of ways is doing pretty good, where I have to imagine Sega's happy with it.
I would assume so. I'm curious about that. And obviously, bro, shout out to R. Kelly, man. Arcade, Sonic is still strong, man. 3.5 for two of Team Sonic Frontiers. I'm actually for the first time, I'm more bullish for his the racing one, the new joint. I'm actually a little bullish about that. I think that it could do something if the game itself is good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. So I'm curious.
I made a bet with a friend that would sell 1 million copies, and he was like, hell no. I think it's fair because this Sonic racing game coming up does have all the IP and it's exciting, but bro, 70. And it's the most expensive Sonic game yet. And some of the Sonic fans are not happy about it.
Oh, they coming with the 70. I didn't know the price point was that.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like you kind of should have, with the licensing deals, I get why they got there, but if you could have kept it a little bit lower with Sonic, Mario Kart doing its thing at 80, you might have had a little pocket there to kind of step into and show up your competition. They did openly challenge Mario Kart
straight up on stage.
They were like, yeah, we got crossplay. Thank you very much.
The way he did it, everybody in the crowd was like, ooh, that was a shot. That was old Sega energy. I was like, okay, y'all outside with this. Okay.
Game looks great, so we'll see. Mario Kart World, I'm not a Nintendo defender, but it is pretty damn good racing-wise. Mechanics and
it's good.
Modes. So they're definitely challenging the king. No doubt about
sure.
it.
There's no doubt. I can't take nothing away. Mario Kart is that dude. So we'll see what happens, man. And I'm excited, man. I just like the fact that, they picked a definitive person from the Yakuza series to feature, based on sales and stuff like that.
Yeah. Look, man, I'm betting the knee. It looks like Ichiban did his thing, man. Almost 3 million copies. So I will say one thing though. I will get. I gotta give and take a little bit here. It really bugs me that it's like a dragon that does these types of numbers, not because of Ichiban, but because I played and beat that game. And I just don't think it's that good. I love Yakuza and I love the stories they tell. And I'm like, this fucking guy and this fucking story is what pulled you guys in with this unbalanced combat system. That's what did it for you all. What's going on? This shitty mini game over here that they forced you into it.
Oh, he wild.
Rather than, your man Kiryu can run a cabaret club and race go-karts and do all these other things on the
terrible
side.
Combat.
Yeah. That's fair.
Antiquated.
Yeah.
I get it.
Look, man, I'm just saying, their transition and this whole Dragon Quest thing, I was like, really? It's not even like a Dragon Infinite Wealth where they really understood the mission. It looks like it's like a Dragon where they kind of were figuring it out as they went along. I don't know, man. I don't know.
He's a lovable guy, man. He's a lovable guy.
A lovable goof. as one would put it.
Kazuka, man. That's actually funny though. When you said that, it's funny how you feel. But yeah, it's good stuff for Sega overall. Just tremendous to see the IPs for the most part all strong, all rocketed, kind of thing. And they
really
churning them out,
flopping.
Yeah, that's the thing. Good call out.
Because like even SMT, that was like a really cool thing to see in my opinion. Like SMT 5, 2.1 million. I mean, I think SMT 5 is excellent. I distinctly remember that being a top 3 game of the year for me when it came out, and it definitely leaned into Persona a little bit in its style and presentation, but it was still very unapologetically hardcore. And Vengeance is fantastic. So I was just really happy to see that. I mean, Sega's got to be thrilled because they're like, if it's anything that looks like Persona, Persona 3 Reload, SMT 5 Vengeance, and Metaphor all going above 2 million.
Yeah.
You got to be like, dude, we're just like sitting on a gold mine here. And as long as like they keep doing mainline Persona entries that do numbers, they'll be in a really good spot. So I can see why they're leveraging Persona and Yakuza so much more now. Because I didn't realize these were the numbers that they were doing. Knowing that Persona 5 has beat out Sonic again, that's crazy.
That is the number one thing in the house right now.
Yeah, Joker is the face of Sega. How about that?
I ain't mad at it. Look, man. Yeah,
all the pressure's on P6 now.
Yes.
Because the 5 was the breakout moment. So 6 can be the biggest if it's multi-plat and it's really good.
Oh, absolutely.
So we'll see. But all right, let's keep it moving here. We're sticking with Sega. Got another bit of news here for Persona 4 Revival, the remake of Persona 4, and Stranger Than Heaven, the new IP from RGG, the developers of the Yakuza franchise. These games are due to release between April 1st, 2026 and March 31st, 2027, according to a Sega Sammy Management Meeting 2025 presentation. So we talked a lot about the Persona timeline of things. That was writing we got about the Persona 4 remake. It's like, what does this mean? That looked really early. And like I mentioned in the show, I don't know if it'll get pushed that far, but I said I could see a world where 4 remake isn't until 27. And I don't know how closely intertwined 4's timeline and 6's timelines are, but this is far off. It looks like, at least the first quarter of next year. For one of these two. I think Stranger Than Heaven looked like it was much further along, so I expect that to come out first. The question is when. RGG typically finds their stuff releasing, to my memory, in the top of the year. Was there ever a Yakuza game that... I think The Man Who Erased His Name was kind of a fall title, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Because I think the others were all coming out usually top of the year, like February was the pocket, because I think that's where Pirate Yakuza dropped this year. Infinite Wealth dropped there. I don't know where Like a Dragon dropped because I was doing better things at the time. But
it was late. Yeah, I think that was later year too. No. But it came out. It was a weird one because I think it came out for the Xbox Series consoles kind of early around launch time. But I don't know if it released
January 2020. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay,
hold on. Yeah. January 2020 for PlayStation 4.
Right.
And then next gen version for Xbox was
later that year.
November 2020.
Yes, that's what. Okay.
Yeah. So, any thoughts, Cog, here on Persona 4 and Stranger Than Heaven's release windows? How are we feeling knowing we're waiting? We knew we were waiting until next year, but seems like it could be pretty deep into next year for both of them.
Yeah, they still got stuff in between that. And yeah, I'm not too surprised by this one, honestly.
Yeah. Overall, I'm just curious where Persona 6 slots in.
Yes.
And also Yakuza. It seems like these next 2 years could be huge for Sega in that regard.
And
especially because the new Sonic game's lining up as well.
Yeah, new Sonic. And then they didn't talk about Pirate Yakuza. Was that on the list? I didn't see
that wasn't on the list at all in the leaks. Yeah.
Curious about that one.
It released in a really busy time and it didn't have Kiryu or Ichiban.
And you had Kingdom Come Deliverance, Monster Hunter, all those crazy games in that 1 month. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know
either, looked cool bro. Too. That's the same thing. It looked really cool. I didn't have any time to fit for it, bro.
It looks so good. Yeah,
I know.
So I don't know. My guess would be, give it the sort of Man Who Erased His Name treatment.
Yeah. And last thing is, doesn't it feel like February the last 2 years is like the new November?
100%.
Like February is the new joint now.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to be unless you're a big name releasing your game in that month. I feel that in March. It's just
I agree.
crazy time. All right, Cog. Let's talk a bit about Blood of Dawnwalker. There was 20 minutes of gameplay dropped by Rebel Wolves. These are the former developers of The Witcher 3, former director of The Witcher 3. Like I said, 20 minutes of gameplay. Did you have a chance to check it out?
Yes, thank you. I got a chance to. I was like, I saw it in the show. I said, you know what? I missed this. Let me go catch this out. And wow, very impressive. They kind of the human vampire cycles, almost, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, obviously the unique skill trees and stuff like that. Definitely seems to be some like, you know, choice of consequence the way you do things. I got a little, I definitely saw the Witcher energy in it. I did like the combat with the claws. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting with that. And yeah, it looks good. It looks good. I at first, I'll be honest, when I first saw it, I thought you were higher on it than me at the reveal, right? But now with this and the walkthrough, I'm warming up. I'm like, okay, I think I see where we're going. I like the kind of moral gray where you can. The part I like the best is like when you get your bite on, you can be like, all right, we gonna get just enough to satiate us.
Yeah,
we could go we could OD and just straight murder him.
Yeah, you can really get the sucking for sure.
Right. They all about rationing out how you suck.
Yeah.
Pause. But that's what the game showed. And then they were like,
they literally have a suck meter. It's crazy.
They got a suck meter. Yeah, you said. And then after that, they got the what I like is the honorable path where you could be like, they didn't show it, but they mentioned it where it's like, yo, you don't have to do that. You can animals and you could, you know, some vampires try to live by that code where like, I will not take life from a human kind of thing. So I thought it was interesting. Little boss fight at the end. Very interesting, very stylish. I like the time period. I like the energy. So I'm warming up. It's probably not as high as you still yet, but I liked what I saw. And I thought this was leading me towards, all right, I got to take this more seriously.
Yeah, no, I don't think I would say I'm super high on the game because the sort of like where the ex-developers of this used to be like this ringing endorsement and exciting thing. And it's still like, I think always going to catch your ear and attention. How couldn't it? It's like, oh, I'm the mind behind this thing you love. I'm doing this now. Like, of course it's worth a look at the very least, especially when it's the director of The Witcher 3 making a Witcher 3-ass game. But The Witcher also has really big budget behind it. And this game seems to be a little bit lower than that, particularly in like animation quality and sort of how cutscenes are presented. But otherwise, I thought that the camera was the only concern I really had. Like the camera wasn't very good in the combat and exploration. So I was not digging that big time, but what I was really excited about, I'm curious what you thought of it, was how they broke down if you do a mission during nighttime and you're a vampire, like how things go versus during the daytime. And like each mission not only feeds off the choices you make, but also like when you do them.
Yes.
And so I thought that was just really cool because that's just a whole new layer of choice that really only this game can kind of do with the day and night system because it fits well with like who you are and what this world is full of, which is vampires. You know, so I was excited about that. Also, as someone who's like a really big fan of Vampire, have you played that yet?
I've still not played Vampire.
Oh. You should play it, honestly. Like, I feel like you'd really, really like, especially Jonathan Reed, the main character, his voice, golden. But if anyone likes what they see with Blood of Dawnwalker, I said in my video about the game, I was like, y'all need to check out Vampire. One of the most underrated RPGs last gen. It comes from Don't Nod, of all places, too.
Oh, your people.
Yeah, my people who seem to always get the Game Pass bag because they know someone in that building. But so waiting on my Vampire sequel. Remind me a lot of that game, but evolving the ideas that felt like it limited the game. Like Vampire was it was like you were in a city, but like there were like specific ways to get to places. It wasn't as open-ended as this is where you can walk up walls, go on rooftops, teleport wherever. Like this game really gives you a lot of power and agency. Vampire is a little more guided at times and other times a little more open. I appreciate, again, Vampire because of like how tight it is. It works really well for its game, but this feels like the evolution of the Vampire ideas that I wanted to see in a sequel. So that's a big reason why I'm excited about the game. And honestly, it has nothing to really do with The Witcher 3.
Got it.
Talent on board. It's just like, man, vampire RPGs are sick.
Yeah.
And this looks like an evolution of one of my favorites. Like, I'm all on board for this. So I thought the gameplay looked pretty good. The combat looked good. Like, there was a blood boiling kind of spell you could do where the camera zooms in on you, like cutting your hand, and then you see like the character that you're attacking start emitting steam because their blood's setting on fire inside them. So a lot of cool spells that I'm curious to see what else you can do with Cohen. But thought he gave me a lot of Geralt vibes.
Yes.
And
style too.
Very, very interested in where this game goes. I think it has a lot of potential. We'll see. Next up here, sticking with CD Projekt Red talent, at least, we're actually going to talk about CD Projekt Red themselves. They announced that update 2.3 for Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed. People may have missed this one, but yes, Cyberpunk is getting more updates. They described this one to be the similar scope to update 2.2, where they added a bunch of new features to the game, new character customization, photo mode stuff, new car frames, all of that. So they're doing a similar update of that size. You may be a little caught off guard by that because they said they were done with updates after 2.1. Yeah. But they brought Virtuos in, of all people, the Oblivion team, to work on update 2.2. And I didn't catch it at the time, but then I realized when they were working on 2.2, I go, you don't just bring them in for one update. Especially when the update was in the scheme of things needless. Like, it was clearly serving a business purpose of let's keep dropping things into this game. So update 2.3 is interesting because there have been LinkedIn leaks and people diving into profiles that suggest new quests are on the way.
Okay.
And those new quests may be involving existing characters. So some people think, Cog, it may be romance focused.
Hey!
Yeah, how about that?
Hey now.
So do you know, I learned that my brother-in-law said that my takes on romance were weird. I found out now my family has come for me.
They listen to do it or just your videos. Oh yeah, because you talk about my
videos or what, but he said to Laylee in passing, he's like, yeah, I know Matt's a little weird about romancing games. I'm like, I was like, tell him right now, weird? First off, bro, what? I was like, are you kidding me? I'm not fucking weird. I said the games are weird. Like, come on now. But nonetheless, Cog, you may be in luck. Might get some romance quests, some extra time with your loved ones, but it looks like that's what they may be adding here. So your thoughts on update 2.3, what are you hoping for from Cyberpunk? What does this lead to? Because there are also rumors, I don't know if you caught, that The Witcher 3 will be getting a new DLC next year.
Wow, that's a throwback. Okay, I didn't know what the hell CDC.
Yeah, it came from a Polish podcast where they have leaked a lot of Cyberpunk and Witcher 3 things in the past. Okay, and they've been accurate before, so seems at least a little tangible.
A lot of resurgence right now. You know, obviously with CDPR, we'll get a switch. We talked about how well that release did, and then they just seem to be on that complete redemption arc. And now people are like, hey, we want more. We heard the rumors that they are going to continue in the universe in potentially another part of Night City or whatever, another region, right? So the long-term play is still there. So they're not ready to give up Cyberpunk, which I do not mind because I love Cyberpunk. And I still got to get Phantom Liberty now, which is wrong. I got to get that done. But look, this is exciting to me. Now, as far as romance, yes. We need that V slide off meter. I want, see if I could, go around the city and see what I can do out here in these streets and cultivate relationships.
You want to be a player out here.
Look, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to give me the option, look, they got options for sliders for other things in Cyberpunk that clearly shows they care about certain energy in the game. Yeah, so my thing is, hey, if we do it on this, let's go all the way. Hopefully it's done in a very tasteful way or something that actually has depth as opposed to just, wear bam and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of horizontal bop and you're done. Yeah.
Exactly. So we'll see. It is interesting to see that they want to do that stuff. But I like that they keep adding stuff. They did stuff with when Edge Runners came out, they had quests that they added that were kind of around that, kind of give the lore of what was going on and stuff like that. So that's dope, man. I love that universe of game. To me, Cyberpunk has always been, it's kind of like my new technical Marvel test. Anytime like I get a new laptop or a PC, those Cyberpunk on, put that benchmark settings.
It's a game that makes you feel real good about
it makes you feel good about next gen. You get to show off your heart. That's why I had to buy it for Switch. I needed to know.
It looks great on it.
Yeah, I was like, bro, this is impressive. DLSS on this hardware. I'm like, yo, they really showed out. And I was impressed that they got a functional moment. And to me, where they really took it to the next level, shout out to them, shout out to Baldur's Gate Larian. You know, I love when third parties are like, hey, cross progression. And Cyberpunk always led the charge. Wherever I'm at, I can continue my save. Laptop, Xbox, Series X, PlayStation, and Switch too. Amazing.
100%. Cog, let's turn our attention to Stinky here in the industry. Mindseye developer Build a Rocket Boy. Not great news over there, and we're not talking about the reviews. We have a report from IGN, which has since been updated. We'll start with the original story. They say Build a Rocket Boy has told staff a redundancy process has begun amid the disastrous launch of Mindseye. The cuts could affect over 100 employees, studio sources have told IGN. One person who has to remain anonymous in order to protect their career told IGN there's no word yet on how many staff are affected, but the standard 45-day consultation process starts today, June 23rd, which according to UK law is triggered when an employer proposes 100 or more redundancies within a 90-day period. IGN understands Build a Rocket Boy currently has 300 UK employees with around 200 abroad. The staff now face an anxious wait to find out whether they'll be affected. Meanwhile, there are serious questions over whether Build a Rocket Boy will be able to fulfill its post-launch roadmap for content, including the promised multiplayer mode on time. Last week, Build a Rocket Boy said it was heartbroken over the issues players had faced with the recently released game and promised a series of patches to fix the significant performance problems, glitches, and AI behavioral issues, which the rollout has since begun for those. All the while, Mindseye trouble launch saw the developer cancel sponsored streams with reports of players securing refunds, even from the normally stubborn Sony surfacing online. Just pausing right there. Did you see the streamer who was, there was Co-Carnage who was about to stream, and then he got a text in the middle that said, don't stream. His shit got canceled while he was live.
Wow.
The other was, I think his name was Dark Viper, who finished his sponsored stream and couldn't hold it in and started laughing at the game after, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just a little context for those who are wondering what happened with those sponsored streams. On Steam, which does not paint the whole picture of Mindseye current popularity, the game hit a peak concurrent player count of 3.3K on launch, but at a 24-hour peak of 130 players. At the time of publication, 52 people were playing on Steam, where Mindseye has a mostly negative user review rating. In an email to staff reviewed by IGN, co-CEO Mark Gerhard insisted the studio remained committed to Mindseye, but pointed to a shift from an intense development and launch phase to a sustainable post-launch support phase. Mind you, this was the same gentleman who said that there was an effort to trash the game and that there was paid negative comments. Meanwhile, the IO boss did deny this was the case. So reel them in a little bit. The update to this, though, is that Build a Rocket Boy has confirmed IGN's report that the redundancy process has begun at the studio and issued the following statement, quote, "We can confirm we have made the painful decision to notify our hardworking team of some internal changes at Build a Rocket Boy. While we are working to reassign roles for as many of those impacted by these changes as possible, sadly, we are initiating a formal consultation process that may result in redundancies. This decision has not been made lightly, and we are committed to handling the process with transparency, fairness, and respect to all employees. We will provide further details to the team over the coming weeks." I like your bottle, by the way, Cog. The launch of Mindseye has been a significant milestone for Build a Rocket Boy, but we know we have to face a lot, or we still have a lot more to grow our community in the coming years. The challenges we faced have only strengthened our resolve, and while we are deeply saddened by today's decision and thankful to our incredible team, the shift allows us to focus on delivering ongoing updates and performance optimization for Mindseye, while also ensuring the long-term success of Build a Rocket Boy's future ambitions. Whew. How are we feeling, Cog?
Rough. Obviously, I spoke to you. I spoke to a lot of people, and I was hearing things that were not pleasant. And it was one of those things where you're like, all right, can something be as bad as people saying it is? And then you see the clips and you're like, bro, what is going on? Like, how did we get this far in development and this was still allowed to kind of go out? And I'm just curious about like the development story on this one, right? Like, what happened? What happened internally from the team, the structure, the communication? Why was it still pushed through at that state? It was clear as day. These things, AI, bro, like it was laughable at certain points where it's just like, what? How did this get signed off on? And it just felt like a concerted effort to kind of get this out. And I remember being at the IO event, and obviously they showed the best representations of the game at that event. And of course, it looked good there. So I didn't want to say anything bad based on what was seen, but I knew based on what I heard from people who actually were playing it. And then, once it came out and then the jig was up, like it was just like, yeah, this is what it is. So obviously they were in full defense force initially, right? Leadership and saying that he was a concerted effort. And, it comes to find out, obviously he had to get reeled in by top level CEO. And then, it's just a horrible story. And now where we are now with, a roadmap that most likely is not going to get fulfilled, staff that's going to get laid off, tons of good, talented people. But Mindseye, this is one of the very strange development stories that I've seen in some time in the industry. You don't see this type of stuff. Like, this was like back in the day. Like, I feel like maybe 360 stuff like that kind of happened. And you had some like, stuff pushed out, maybe because of a license or whatever. But especially because who's involved, the publisher, like, how did this get through the cracks is my question, right?
Yeah, especially because I'm speaking up just off top of mind here, but I don't recall them really ever publishing with their like partner division anything of substance. So this is sort of a big swing and a miss for them. And, when you look at like 007 and Hitman, like they have a strong quality pedigree, like top notch. So it's really weird from that point. I mean, you could read into like the Glassdoor reviews and sort of what has leaked since then on just how like leadership did not listen to their staff.
Oh, like, is this what I want to know?
Yeah, that seemed to just be the kind of story there. Like there was staff who was warning. It's very Bungie-esque is based if you believe what you read. It's very Bungie-esque. Like staff warning, can't do this, need more time for this, need more time for that. Don't get it. Here's the result. And then layoffs happen, and good talented people who have been put in a shit spot lose their jobs, and the executives keep theirs. Yeah, man, it's a bummer, but I also saw some people immediately being like, oh, if they hang with it, they can make a comeback. And I'm just like, no, everything can be Cyberpunk, man. Like Cyberpunk, I know it was like laughable, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I when I reviewed it, it wasn't that fucking broken.
Right.
But Cyberpunk to me, like immediately you could tell from its cutscenes, its writing quality, like, oh, this is really good.
Right.
And when the 1.0 version comes out, which is not what I reviewed, and it's completely fucked. Yeah. It's like, oh, this takes away from the things I love. And now that all the junk is out of the way, you can only see the things you love. Whereas something like Mindseye, like its story is bad. Its gameplay is also just very stale. Like it's just a basic third-person shooter without things like a jump button or like standard cover features. Like it's not a good video game underneath it all. So not everything is really primed for a comeback like a Cyberpunk or No Man's Sky. So it's a shame to see the layoffs, but yeah, this is not one of those stories, in my opinion, where Mindseye 5 years from now is a game that we're like, yeah, man, they did it. Like they fixed it. They realized the true vision. Right. And that's a shame because I think there is I've said this tons of times, so I'm sure anyone who's listened to me consistently has heard me say it, but like there is absolutely a place on the market for a GTA clone. It's needed. There's no reason GTA should be the only crime-based open world game on the market. And it blows my mind how many people fucked it up. You had Saints Row who shows up and had probably the best chance. Like, go back to basics. You're golden. You have the name, the social cachet. People love you. They know you can put up a good fight against GTA. Like, you were there duking it out. Saints Row 1 and 2. And you went left with like 3 and 4. And I think those games are great, by the way. And it found its own identity. But like, to come back with that reboot and just how bad it was. And then there's no sleeping dogs. So here comes the next one from the guy who helped produce GTA for its best years. It's like, oh, a GTA style game from this guy. Like, sure, it's not going to be the Rockstar budget, but I remember there was a time where crime-based open world games were pretty common. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's just Mafia now. And Mafia is not even open world.
Yeah.
It's literally just GTA. So Rockstar is probably sitting there like, you weren't a threat at all, but hell yeah, it's just us now. I just hate that it is that way. That's the biggest bummer, is that there is absolutely room for at least one more, at least. So such a missed opportunity, especially because now with the delay for GTA, they actually had time. They didn't have to get it out at this point. But I also think from my point of view, and I could be wrong, but just based on my experience, that game is so beyond fucked in so many ways that would require undoing core parts of the game that it's not just give it a year. It needed way more time than that. It may have been more polished, but honestly, I just think that game was, they just put it out because it's like there's nothing else they could do with it. So they're going to support it until either the studio shuts down or they can move on to something else. Yeah,
no, I agree. I think it's, with the other examples, with a No Man's Sky and a Cyberpunk, you go, okay, at the core, I see something cool, fun, that is salvageable here, right? But when you launch like this is kind of like, honestly, give me Redfall kind of energy. Like, let's just be real. This feels like Redfall all over again. Like we know this shouldn't really be out. This should be delayed substantially or canceled. And for whatever reason, whether it be, executive leadership, ego, budget, and just kind of forcing it to trudge along, this is the result of it still being forced out. And it's unfortunate because it puts such a stain now, obviously with the IO, everyone associated, right? It really does. And that people are going to lose their jobs like that. This is just the sad reality of this. And you absolutely nailed it. There was a room in this industry for a GTA clone to kind of step up and say, hey, we could do this. And yeah, it just didn't. So yeah, this is definitely one of the biggest surprises of the year. And look, when you got 3,000, what is it? Then they said 52 people play. Like, you can patch to your heart's content. It's done. Once the sentiment is that bad, there's really no coming back. You don't see Redfall on the list of games being ported over to PlayStation. So there's certain things that it's just like, we got to take the L on this. It's a wrap. We finish this, and who knows if they even do that post-support roadmap stuff that they even talk about. Yeah. So, yeah.
This is a game that I thought of you immediately with, Cog, is Blood Message. This recently got revealed. This comes from 24 Entertainment Studio, who's making this game in conjunction with NetEase Thunderfire. So NetEase is out here again, making what is called a third-person linear action-adventure game. And it is a almost 5-minute reveal trailer that looks very Assassin's Creed, looks very God of War. I think it looks fantastic. Looks really good. It's coming to consoles and PC. No release window. But you want to talk about make it a statement on trailer one. Y'all look it up. Blood Message. Just 5 minutes of being very impressive and also refreshingly, I say this as someone who's a huge fan of the genre and probably music to yours, Cog, not a Souls-like. Not a Souls-like. This looks like a pure action-adventure game set in Eastern Europe. Or wait, no, I'm sorry. Where is it set? Set during the real-life Donghuang uprisings of 848 AD. There you go. There's a much more historically accurate breakdown that I was giving you guys. But this game looks incredible. I'm very excited about it. So, Cog, what are your thoughts after running through the trailer?
Mind-blowing. It gave me that feeling when we first saw Wukong, and we like, is that real? Like, we were like, this is the game? Like, no way. Like, bro, this looks crazy.
Yeah.
Bro, music to my linear, no Souls. I just need a little break. Now, I will say, I'm saying all this slander, but you know what? Souls game does look good coming up, even though it's sidebar. We
Lots of DLC, yeah.
Oh, that's what we already know.
Okay, good. Just checking you.
Besides the go, your go. You know I like Liza P. Yeah. Of all the ones that y'all forced me to play, I was like, nah, Maddie's on it. We're
going to talk about something in a second. I think I might be able to get you back on it, Cog.
I heard about what you call it popping off. G was popping off about it. The new joint too. I heard.
Nothing to do with the DLC. Don't worry. We'll talk in a
something
moment
else.
here.
Okay, we're gonna talk.
Yeah, we'll talk in a moment here.
I wanted to show some love to Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, which I got a chance to play at Summer Games Fest, and we covered on ILP. That one kind of blew me away too. Like, ooh, this looks really good. But back on point, that's for the Souls people. But back for Blood Message, yeah, this is the one. This is the one. And who else? Everybody slept. NetEase, bro. They know what they doing over there, man. I'm telling you. Yeah. I can slander all you want, but every time they put something out, it seems to pop.
And yeah, they started with Naraka. Quiet little success there, and then they just took it with Marvel Rivals, and off they went.
Blood Message? Yeah, they killing the game right now.
Absolutely. All right. Next up here, some updates on Rematch. It's sold 1 million copies over its opening weekend and hit 2.5 million players overall across all platforms. So very good to see. Also, to the surprise of many, myself included, no crossplay. Little disappointing because they let people know very late and they explained what happened in a blog post that coincided with the launch of the game on June 19th. They say, we understand many of you are looking forward to playing Rematch across platforms from day one. We did our utmost to include crossplay at launch, but Rematch is the studio's first crossplay title, and we faced unforeseen technical complexities which prevented us from having this feature ready in time. We should have communicated as soon as it became apparent that crossplay won't be available at launch. We're very sorry for the inconvenience and frustration it caused some of our players. It's very important to us that the players are able to enjoy Rematch with their friends, so along with bug fixes, crossplay is absolutely our highest priority. We're committed to delivering this feature swiftly, and we'll share more precise deadlines as soon as possible. We already have a basic working version from a technical standpoint, but we need to implement the relevant interfaces before debugging and polishing it, and finally, passing console certification successfully. All this takes time, but we are doing our best to move forward quickly. Elsewhere in the post, Slowclap addressed the performance issues that affected the early access launch, saying that fixing them is a priority. These included lag, stuttering, and frame drops, affecting gameplay. Server and client desync have also been impacting match quality too. They say, quote, for instance, we are aware of issues where players would sometimes be unable to interact with the ball, with player characters, and the ball seemingly moving across the pitch unpredictably. Slowclap says they are on the case and that there is work being done to squash game-breaking bugs that cause crashes, freezes after goals, and menu lockouts. They're also working on updates with plenty of cool content and features that they want to bring to the game. The four main areas of focus are core gameplay changes, competitive features like a tournament system, a leaderboard system, as well as a club creation system, social components, with crossplay being a big one, again, and allowing players to team up and rematch with teammates they enjoy playing with, plus a casual play feature that allows players to play against AI-controlled bots so players can train with and against AI. Please remember that we are not a huge team, and these features take time, so don't expect all of this by the end of the year. So, very transparent, but that's what's going on with Rematch. I have, unfortunately, yet to play it. I thought it looked great. We'll say no crossplay kind of took the wind out of my sails. And learning about it on launch day, y'all know better. Especially, we're a small team. It's going to take a while. Don't expect it. I'm like, I'll probably hear about this feature in within 3 months. And y'all knew for a while then.
Yeah.
So a little disappointing there. But what are your thoughts on Slowclap's performance here with Rematch? I remember I was actually kind of down on the game when it was first revealed. Checked it out. Thought it actually looked pretty good. And now over 1 million sales already. So was moving on from Sifu the right play?
I know. Yeah, the same thing. We came from the same journey, which was like Sifu. Okay, what's Slowclap's next thing after coming off that? And then I hear Saga. I'm like, oh. And then I start hearing people talk about it. No, Cog. This is something special. I knew it was something special when two people I really respect was like, bro, it was Solve and it was my editor-in-chief for Laws.Gaming.net. Shout out to my boy Mahmoud. And he was like, yo, they got something, And like I said, this is really cool. The problem is, even if you're a smaller team, you got to just communicate that. Like, hey, this is direct. You can't just, as his route, just come out the door. Oh, by the way, it's not going to have this. And it's just like, whoa, bro. We were under the impression.
You may have just bought it.
Yeah, you know what I mean, kind of thing. So again, this is probably a bit of biting off more than you can chew. Hopefully they get that implemented fairly quickly because people are really raving about they have something really special here. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. For me, it's just going to be one of those things where it's like, I'll probably wait, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. And I'm worried that based on how long it's going to take, will the interest level still be there for me and others, right? That kind of thing. But otherwise, I do like the initial success that they're getting, though. Like, this is impressive. What was it, 1 million?
Million sales.
Yeah, bro, it's something. So salute to them. You know, they're a very unique developer. I do like them. I like Slow Cop a lot. This is a bold thing, and they may have hit it on the core gameplay. Now, just get this network stuff out the way, get the crossplay, because you could really jump these numbers off. So it's imperative that they get that going.
No crossplay is a shame, though. I feel like this game's long tail really depends on it, and I get they're a smaller team, but that is like, I mean, you can almost argue sprinting that ahead of bug fixes. Like, like, I think just people care more about like playing with their friends, and you know, like I had plans to be like, when I came back, I had a friend on PC and a friend on PlayStation, a friend on Xbox. I was like, let's all get together and play. Now, not doing that. So that's like 3 sales you might have just lost.
No,
that adds up.
That desync, play lag disconnects and stuff like that. I'm looking at my Mark Booth's article, and he was just like, people were teleporting all over the match. A little warning. So they got issues. He said, I just can't sugarcoat the technical issues, but the core gameplay is so fun and so dope. So they got to get this straightened out, man, because hopefully they can get this thing rocking and rolling.
Got you. All right. Let's talk Switch 2 third-party sales estimates. You know, I know it's not Xbox, but we like to talk game sales whenever we get a chance. You got to understand, y'all, when we start to get numbers and figures, Cog and I are like foaming at the mouth for that shit, because it's like we don't get that often. So we like to assess what others are doing. We like to pocket watch other people. We can't do it to our own company. All right. This article comes from gamesindustry.biz. It says, those sales of Nintendo's new Switch 2 hardware have been one of the fastest selling consoles ever. Sales of third-party games have reportedly been sluggish and below estimates. That's according to a new report by The Game Business, which intimates that despite attracting strong buy-in from partners like EA, Take-Two, Microsoft, Ubisoft, SEGA, Capcom, Bandai Namco, Square Enix, CD Projekt, and Konami, and although third-party publishers have fared better with the Switch 2's launch than its predecessor, most third-party Switch 2 games posted very low numbers, end quote. According to Nielsen IQ, CD Projekt's Cyberpunk 2077 is currently the best-selling third-party game of Switch 2's launch. However, by the way, this is hilarious because any preview I went to or saw for the Switch 2 had Cyberpunk tucked in a corner. It was like the M for mature game. Like they hid it. They turned the TVs away from it. Nintendo's got to wake up on that, bro. Like, it's just so stupid. However, although third-party publishers, quote, appear to have done slightly better during the launch of Switch 2 compared to the Switch 1, end quote, report author Christopher Dring added, quote, it's hard to describe these statistics as positive, end quote, end quote. Most third-party Switch 2 games posted very low numbers. One third-party publisher characterized the numbers as below our lowest estimates, despite strong hardware sales, end quote, Dring writes. Quote, the improvement over the Switch 1 launch is also slightly misleading. For starters, there were more consoles sold this time. Plus, the Switch 1 only launched with 5 physical games. Breath of the Wild, 1-2 Switch, Just Dance 2017, Skylanders, Imaginators, and Super Bomberman R. That's fucking awful, by the way.
Yeah, by that launch, I was like, Breath of the Wild, please.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I just want one game. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Cog, these are the sales numbers. I want to know how you're feeling about how the Switch 2 is doing, how third parties doing. You alluded earlier into the show to having some thoughts on this, so I want you to take it away.
Yeah, man, this is like a tale of two things, because on one hand you got the Cyberpunk, right, which was like number 2 but behind Mario Kart as far as sales for the Switch 2 and software available. But then you look at what these reports are saying from gamesindustry.biz and Christopher Dring, and it's just like people are saying, they well below estimates. So I gotta eat some crow here, because I thought, okay, my mindset is, if you were a third-party developer publisher and you're able to be available at Switch 2 launch, you should make a killing. But it kind of showed me that the Nintendo audience is there for Nintendo. And this is where I got to kind of minus the Cyberpunk, which is a very strange thing. Because at one hand, I'm like, okay, well, you bought Cyberpunk. There was desire for this game existed already, right? It's mature, like you said. And it looks phenomenal on the system, right? So I'm like, okay, cool, but why didn't you buy all these other games that, are on your platform for the first time? And it just told to me that Nintendo user is like, no, we're good. or B, we already have that. So I got to show my boy Addict some love because he's kind of been on that train where just like, you know, Cog, I know, you know, you're getting it for Cyberpunk because he was laughing like, you get it for Cyberpunk? I'm like, yeah, I'm getting it for Stop Getting Married. Like, that's my launch lineup.
Yeah.
And then everything else would be back compat. But it kind of goes to his thinking as a person who loves Switch that like, no, like we're waiting for the bigger, you know, Nintendo first party launches. So I feel kind of bad because I'm like, what is it? Splitgate got theirs out in time. There was a lot of big games. Was it Hogwarts? Now Hogwarts was like older though.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, that's an.
And it was also like no new content. Or
new content. So okay, but I felt like if you were a third party dev that launched within 3 to 4 months of the release of the Switch, and it was on other platforms, it's new to the Nintendo Switch, and I thought, yeah, they would get support there. That didn't seem to be the case. So yeah, this is interesting data. Like you, I love data like this. I like to know how people are buying, what the trends are, what's the analysis, and then also you got why this is relevant for us for Divided Duke is that, you know, Xbox is looking to get over here, right?
Yeah.
So how do their franchises now do on Nintendo? Before it was like a no-brainer slam dunk kind of thing if you're on this system. That's how I felt. So I go for this kind of shook me a little bit like, I don't know. But then again, I need to get the data from like Grounded, you know, on Switch, because that was one of the ones that came over. I know Hi-Fi Rush didn't, but Grounded, I believe Pentiment. I mean, let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? We did not expect Bible stories to game. I love you, Andres Bella. We already know me, Colin. We go extra hard, and you know, for Josh Sawyer, the amazingness. But that is not a system seller or something that people are going to run out in droves to get. But Grounded, I think, did well, and I just got to pull out the hard numbers on Switch 2, what that is. But I'm very curious now. Is this an indicator that Switch might not be the gold mine that I thought it would be for Xbox mainline games like a Halo and a Gears and stuff like that? I am honest, this does shake me a little bit. I thought, now granted, most of those games on the list do not have the cachet of a Gears or a thing. And if Cyberpunk did it, I feel good that, you know, Halo Gears should, but maybe it's not the slam dunk I thought it was.
I would say this. I'm not reading too heavily into the launch sales of Switch as heavily as I think others are, because you and I are great examples of what I think most people are doing with their Switch. Like you said, that's my launch lineup. Mine was this. It was Pokemon. Everyone had, I think, a different idea because they knew it was just a more powerful Switch too. So I think this is a lot of backlog battling that people were doing. I think, you know, one of the other games I fired up was Age of Calamity, and I played through a decent amount of that on my Switch too. Like, this is a back compat machine first for a lot of people. Like, there's a lot of work to be done. And so I think that's what's happening is there are some ports that are very alluring, like the CD Projekt Red big RPG, like big RPG sell, you know, big open world sell. Like you get a shiny new console that you're going to be using a lot because you're excited about it. Like, yeah, you want something that's you're going to spend a lot of time with. Get your Mario Kart. Like, what's the game that complements it really well? That's nothing like it. It's Cyberpunk. So that makes sense to me. And a lot of the other titles were either like smaller, but like very community driven and exciting, like a Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4, or Yakuza 0. It's like this director's cut. Yakuza 0 is apparently amazing. But it's also like, I don't think Yakuza has that pull yet. You know, games like that, re-releases like that, aren't exactly, I think, things I'm jumping out to buy, especially when, dude, I went straight to the eShop and I was sifting around a lot of digital games on sale when the Switch 2 launched, which is what I was talking about earlier. You coordinate your sales well, your game will have a sick tail. And sometimes even sell like close to your launch figures over time, which is awesome. So when I was sifting through the eShop, I was like, damn, bro, there's like 4 different things I want to buy right now. I stayed in control thanks to my lovely my data tables I put together. So I knew what the mission was, but I can imagine people who are not weird like me, you know, had to like, I want to buy this. Oh, I've been wanting to play this. Oh, I don't have to worry about the Switch One's low performance capability here. I'm going to buy this. So I think what probably happened, if I were to wager just a pure guess, is like the field got spread. I think everyone went a little bit of everywhere. I think there was a lot of game purchases on the Switch too. I could be wrong. But I think everyone kind of went everywhere because that's what you did. That's what I did. And I think that's what most people did, you know? So yeah, no doubt people are there for Nintendo. And I think Mario Kart World was the biggest beneficiary, but how could it be? Like, you and I aren't Mario Kart guys, but we're like, it's the only fucking launch exclusive there. Like, I'm going to buy it, you know? It just kind of goes hand in hand with it. So it benefits from it big time. But like my most played game on my Switch 2 now is Last Defense Academy. I don't think that's how Nintendo drew it up, but like their system has made even games like that load quicker, run better.
Yep.
So that's my thoughts on it. I would not. I'll give you an e-hug here. It's okay. I don't think Xbox is going to lose out on precious sales here. I think Halo and Gears are going to do just fine because I think there's, out of the launch lineup, to me, Cyberpunk stands out as a novelty one. It's like, this works on the Switch. This is on the Switch.
Yes.
Kind of like when The Witcher 3, that's on the Switch. So I feel like when Halo is there or Gears is there, everyone will let me know if I'm wrong. I know that. But I feel like those have that same type of pull of like, dude, I'm going to buy those games on Switch.
Oh, regardless. Bro.
Like if when there's a physical copy of like Gears on PS5, as long as it's not, a product key, they're going to be like, this is fucking crazy, dude. I remember 360, and that was the only place it would ever be.
Yeah,
so I think there's a lot of people who just want to play it that way. A lot of people have missed out, want to get up. So, I think Xbox will still do really well, and especially they'll do better than most because that audience will have been built over months.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Especially with Switch being readily available.
Yeah, no, great, well said. And then, like I said, I've been playing so much better, but bro, MLB the Show on Switch is fire. I convinced Saul. He said, bro, I fired it up. He was like, yo, you were right. 60 frames per second smooth. Oh my God. He was like, this is a new game. I was like, yep. He said, now the textures on, the hands and the faces, it's very stinky on that, but, because they didn't do an update, but man, it runs well. And so you could be right. And I got to see how this thing kind of plays out.
100%. We got one more layoff story for you. This one I wanted to dive into because it is a conversation on, these developers are just so back and forth. I'm really on a swing here. Now, all transparency, I did do a sponsored video for Splitgate 2 weeks ago, before the guy showed up with the hat. So I did not know that was going to go down. But nonetheless, here we have the write-up from Insider Gaming. Say just weeks after its full launch in May, Splitgate 2 developer 1047 Games has announced that it is holding layoffs at the studio. This was in a post on LinkedIn, which Xbox Era spotted. The company's official account says that they parted ways with a small group of valued 1047 Games team members. Quote, we're still perfecting the Splitgate 2 gameplay experience in response to community feedback, and we are redirecting resources to build the best game for our players. We are sad to see our teammates go, and we are actively looking to help them secure new opportunities, end quote. In addition to the layoffs, it was said that 1047 Games co-founders Ian Proul and Nick Bagamian have opted to not take salaries as they, quote, lock in to deliver the next phase of the project, end quote. They say, thank you to those who have built alongside us. We are sad to say goodbye and would not be here without you. To everyone who's playing Splitgate 2, we're continuing to work hard to deliver more things that we know you'll love. We are committed to building this game for the long haul. Layoffs at 1047 Games come up after a up and down last few weeks for the studio. Splitgate 2 saw the launch of the Battle Royale mode that saw numbers on Steam jump to over 25,000 concurrent players. However, CEO Proul got caught up in a bit of controversy when he wore a Make FPS Great Again hat on the stage at the Summer Games Fest, a move that he ultimately made a public apology about. The studio did not make public how many people were let go. Insider Gaming has reached out for clarification on the number of people impacted by the layoffs. Should a response be received, it will be added to this story. All right, Cogs, that's the update here. Yeah, like well said here by Mike Straw of Insider Gaming. Very up and down week for 1047 Games. Everything from the launch to the Summer Games Fest debacle with their CEO to now layoffs and the game seemingly treading water. I will say, as someone who's played it, and again, full transparency, was sponsored, this is a fucking great feeling FPS, dude. For as annoying as people may think the CEO is, or whatever feelings you may have on the matter, that is a great feeling shooter. Really, like, it is Halo in a lot of ways. Really good feeling. I was very impressed. And I mean, you could tell Splitgate 1 had a lot of Halo sensibilities too. They studied the maps, the flow, the spawns. There are some maps that are straight up copied from Halo, which, depending on, straight up is maybe a little bit strong, but like you can see very heavily inspired. They're Halo fans, but it's funny because in a lot of ways they do put their money where their mouth is. Like, this is a great feeling shooter. Now, to step out and say we're tired of the bullshit and calling out other shooters and then wearing the corny hat, which is like this meme is like how it's not political, by the way, when I say this, just like this meme, this idea of these hats, like this is very like Trump's first term. Like that's when these hats were kind of popular, right? Like now I was like, all right, whatever. Like I was not really fully dissuaded by seeing the hat, but I was like, all right, this is a little corny. But to come out there, talk your shit, and then be like, here's a battle royale mode. I'm like, bro.
That's the part.
Come on. And then you see the microtransactions afterwards. Like, you ain't different. In fact, you might be worse. I get why people feel that way. It's such a shame because underneath a lot of that crap is a great feeling game. But this is the definition of like, when you try to be loud, we always see the story of where they get it right. This is one of the first times we're seeing someone come out trying to be loud. Like, I'm going to talk my shit, wear my hat. I'm going to go for it. Put our game on the map. It's a statement. And the statement was made and it's really cemented them in this betweener spot of like the game's not totally failing, but it's not taking off like it should have, especially when Splitgate 2 is just a little bit controversial in its own way of like, maybe controversial is not the right term. That sounds like something they got into a snafu. The decision to make a sequel was strange for its fans. Splitgate 1, as many people may remember, was a viral hit. It was a huge game. They stopped supporting it to go and make a sequel. I never played the first one. I did play the second one though. But it was definitely one of those Overwatch 2 moments of like, why are you guys making a sequel?
Just about to ask you that. That's what that was coming.
It's not like they added a campaign. They're like, why are you guys making a sequel? But this does have all the modes. It's got the arena modes. It's now got battle royale. It's got like team-based modes. It does cover all the bases. So it's a really weird situation where I do think Splitgate 2 is a great game.
Right.
Again, sponsorship aside, like I do think it's a fun game. I'm not grinding it, but I also said in my videos, like it's not my next grind, but it's a fun game. I'm surprised, despite all of the noise, that people who have tried it out haven't like championed, like, oh, this is better than people give it credit for. But what do you make of the dev facing layoffs? I do respect that the two heads of the studios are cutting their salary. Like, say what you will, that's something that's, especially for a small team or smaller team, that's fucking rare, dude. So I really respect that they're like, we're gonna believe in this thing and we're going to stick with it and cut our pay to go keep the skill workers who make this thing really float, make it work. So I really respect that.
Hell yeah.
So kudos to them on that. But Kyle, what are your thoughts on what Splitgate 2 is kind of going through here?
Yeah, to reiterate that, I sure wish Bungie did that with their CEOs and stuff. To retain all this great talent they keep doing. Sidebar, I had to get my slander in.
No, please do.
Yeah, look, this is such a, I was there. Cyberpunk Fest. He came out. He had the bat. He had the hat. And to be honest, I don't care about your hat. I don't care about your political affiliation. That stuff doesn't bother me. But it's literally what you said. It was, you can't pop off and then do the game is based on every kind of major trend in the industry, which is battle royale, microtransaction. That's what got him in trouble, right? Yeah. Again, now granted, in fairness, we're in a climate where I feel like any type of political charge sentiment is going to come back on you, even though it shouldn't matter because of the fact I don't care what affiliation you have, but there's going to be sensitivities towards it, right? If, people on the opposite side. So don't.
It was really weird just reading some interviews involving him, like trying to push him to feel like wrong about it. Because I do believe we need different minds and ideologies in the industry. Like that's kind of what makes the world go around. And to kind of pressure this guy to apologize for, it's not like he really made a political statement. He wore a meme hat. It's a corny meme hat, but like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I didn't see and feel like any particular type of way about it.
I didn't feel any way about the hat. The issue came down to me about, my only thing that I cringed when he was up there was you kind of taking shots at other games by name. Remember, he was like Call of Duty. Now, he did say, the thing that I did say, like, he's like, yo, I feel he should have took this approach. Like, yo, we taking it back to Titanfall 2. He threw Titanfall name. He threw something. I was like, keep it about the things you want to aspire to when things are great. But the minute you say now, we're coming for them and you, like Call of Duty, all right, we gonna want to see, right? We're going to see it again. Not saying the game.
You got Call of Duty business practices in your game. It's not really like.
That's where God. I don't care about the hat and the political stuff, but you better come with it. And I think that's what really got him in trouble. Now, again, it's such an up and down whole topic because I love the fact the CEOs took the hit. It was like, bro, we got to eat that. we try to retain as much as we
Especially when
can.
they might be to blame.
When they may be to blame. And I think obviously he clearly fell under the pressure from social media, from let's just be honest, a games industry that tends to lean one way politically. Right.
100%, yeah.
Right. And I gotta be fair. Right. So it's like
Yeah.
if the majority is coming down on you, now it's almost like the pitch for the fact you've brought so much unnecessary attention to your game that you've got to respond to try to save and get on.
You know what they tried to do? And I mean, you saw he tried to stand on his square. He's like, I'm not apologizing. The hat's not a political statement. Like, he tried to stand on his square. The numbers didn't go up from that. I think the idea was like, I'm going to stand on my square and watch these numbers go up. Yep. He stands on his square. And nothing changes.
And that's what affects things.
And that's when it's like, well, now I'm going to apologize. And that'll make it better. So
yeah, now you got the pilot damage is done. It's too late. So that's unfortunate. Yeah. To your point, who played the game said the game was amazing. I heard the first game is good. Then I think it's a Game Pass too, I believe.
It's free to play. So
it's free to play. Okay, gotcha. So free to play. You got that. As far as the updates, probably my thinking is that why they went from 1 to 2, I guess if I had to guess, you would probably know better than me, is maybe from an engine standpoint, all the things they wanted to expand upon, they were limited. They couldn't do it. Because I remember talking to Grounded devs, and we were like, yo, 2, what's up? He was like, bro, we literally ran out of space, and we were supporting past gen, so we had to do Grounded 2. So it could be a technical thing as to why they did it. But it's unfortunate, the whole situation. And, I'm very curious, because 25, that ain't bad, though. What is it, 25 concurrent?
Just on Steam alone. Yeah,
that's not bad.
I'm guessing between the player count and maybe the microtransaction prices, the turnover wasn't strong or something like that, where, I don't think it's bad. It's just because we just covered one. Like, we've seen flops. That doesn't scream flop to me.
Right.
Let's see. Well, I mean, here's a good live test.
Yeah. Let's see.
He's playing Splitgate 2 right now on Steam.
Yeah. Let's see what Splitgate 2 right now.
Steam charts. All right. Let's see what we got here. 24-hour peak, 6.8K. Yeah,
it's
not great.
That's fair. And then I'm curious since Splitgate 1 was a success, what was the concurrence at their peak? So maybe Splitgate 1 was really popping and they was expected to jump off. And maybe that's what it is.
Splitgate 1 has like no players right now.
Well, of course that now.
4-hour peak of 148. So it's not like people are going back to the old joint.
True. But what was
all-time peak is 67.7.
See? Yeah, that's what I figured. So to me, they were coming in like, okay, maybe they're not getting 64, 65, what peak was, but let's say the medium was like 38, 40, whatever. They like, yo, now we just got to add on. We're going to have that base. So at that point, it's probably a disappointment for them because they thought they were going to get maybe the 40 to 50K kind of thing.
The average players actually, I mean, at least at launch, is much better than anything after their boom month. They jumped an average of 36,000 players in the month of August 2021. From there, they went down to 12.6K. And then from there, it's 4.9K, and everything is in the 2 and 1Ks until the game was eventually sunset. But it's just it's a crazy story because it just shows how important, if you're going to go out there and represent your company, like, I don't know, man. I mean, like, it just feels like he said, team, let me cook, and there was no conversation on it, because you got to remember, like, when you're going out there, it's something I think about all the time. I'm like, I represent my whole team, whether I like it or not. And it's something that I think about a lot because I definitely mouth off a lot, and I have to be very conscious of, because I know there's going to be that moment people will be like, oh, he's making this game? Look what he said in 2022. Shut the fuck up, man. Like,
dudes be quick with it, man. Yeah. I know.
No, it's like, you got to be mindful of, like, this is an industry where, like, they take their trash talk seriously. Like, oh, you think you're that guy, huh?
Oh, they're quick to knock somebody down.
Yeah, it's one thing to have your thoughts and feelings like, oh, I don't like this that much or whatever. But when you start saying we're better than that,
that's where he got in trouble to me.
Yeah.
There, where he was the call and dude. I was like, I didn't like that part. I was like, bro, you were doing so good. You got the swag. You came out. You had me at Titanfall. That you're going back for that energy. I'm like, yes. Don't say your joint is better than some other joint, and you trying. Now you doing that.
It's just too supportive of an industry. Like, I know it sounds very softball to people, but this is an industry that does thrive from lifting, not putting down. It really does. Like, it does. Like, the collaborate. Like, this is an industry that loves crossovers, loves collaborations. So, like, I saw a trailer for Atelier Yumiya doing something with Tales of Grace's F. Like, it's a weird industry where these partnerships can happen. We're seeing Nickelodeon characters in a Sonic racing.
Hell yeah.
So I just kind of look at that and think to myself, man, like, when you step out there and you go for the put down, you either got to back it up or you have to like really target someone who's been like the enemy of the industry where it feels good. Everyone knows Call of Duty is like this trained beast that's just not going anywhere. So putting it down accomplishes nothing. You just kind of look like an asshole, Yeah. All right, Cog, this is especially for you. It's a month-old news, but Papa Fridge wrote in about Lies of P difficulty settings. He says, "Hey, Dukes, with the added difficulty options, I finally tried and beat Lies of P. Yeah, I know, call me a baby gamer, but as a married attorney, whoa, big man.
Wow.
Married and an attorney. This guy's making bread. He doesn't have time for anything. I just didn't have time to bash my head against a wall so I can kill a couple of virtual puppets. Jokes aside, I really enjoyed the game and the ending's tease for the next game. I know Maddie's a huge fan of the game, but I wanted to know if COG would consider playing the game now that you could play it at a slightly more forgiving difficulty option. They added 2 options, one story mode and one that sits between the default difficulty and the easy story mode. I played it on the latter and it felt like a fine challenge, but one that never made me want to commit puppet seppuku. No, COG, I know you don't love Souls games, so maybe give this one a shot. At least you'll get a vibe of the world and the story because they're great. Additionally, what are your thoughts on games like Lies of P adding difficulty options to make a game easier or maybe even harder post-release? Cheers and have a My Puppet is also an Xbox kind of day. Shout out to Papa Fridge. Appreciate the write-in. I wanted to put this in front of you sincerely because I know I've pushed you on Lies of P a lot. You played it in its hardest form. No shame, but like, dude, they added difficulty options. Like, this could be, like, this is not the bash your head against the wall mode now. This is like, hey, come on. And a lot of the community pushed back, but I do think it was a good call. Like, they're challenging the throne and like they need to get everyone in, I think. And I think the next Lies of P game or whatever they call it, I will not spoil my theory on what they'll call it, is going to be fucking awesome. So I think it's going to be huge. So do you look at this and you feel a little temptation to get in there and see what Lies of P is doing? You want to see what Pinocchio's up to, Cog? Please say yes.
Shout out to Papa Fridge. Shout out. I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
I did not know about this. I had no idea that they had added this mode. I'm torn because you know me, like as much as I complain about Souls, one thing I love about you guys is I think you guys are savants, the talent. I look at you, I look at Attic, I look at Ebontis, and I'm like, man, you guys are beating these bosses, you're doing these comments. That
Don't
is
sell yourself short.
So like I don't have it in me to I know I could do these things. Like full disclosure. I know I can. It's just again time, energy, and also my main thing is mental state, right? So my main argument now is to push back. Bro, I don't want to be angry. Like I there's a side to me that y'all seeing older, mature COG who's, cool, laughs a lot. Like that stuff brings out a side of me that I don't like about myself. And I rage. And I never was a controller thrower, but like
my brother was.
I'm a screen cursor. I'm like, bro, like this is garbage. Like I would be the perfect person you could farm my rage and just laugh. Right. And I don't like that sound. But so there's a part of me is that here's the thing of it. If the developer is down with it and it does not, they're not forced because like, yo, you better have this mode or else, no doubt.
Yeah, there was never really pressure.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it that way, but yeah.
Because I didn't like when From was being put under pressure to be like, yo, you better do this. Or, this, that, and the third. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I think I may be coming around because you know what actually is the catalyst? It's Final Fantasy XVI.
Really?
The way they do it is they say, hey, put on the amulet and get noticed for when to dodge at the time you want to do, or put on an amulet that you don't get hit at all. Right? So I was like,
I forgot they did that.
So I tried it for the first time. Now again, my game was pure, so I felt dirty. I was like, bro, I want to finish this game. I got my backlog. I'm looking, if I don't get it done between June, July, August, Shinobi's coming, all these games and Ninja games.
I do not shame those types of business decisions at all. If you're just there for the story and Again, I'll just go on record as saying I don't think 16's gameplay is very good. So if you're like, I'm kind of over this and I want to just blitz the story,
and I just want to get, because I love the story so much. I
wouldn't blame you.
So I full disclosure, I put on the amulet that didn't just make me avoid stuff completely, because I still felt that was too sacrilegious. So I put the one that it gives me the timing window of like 5 seconds. Yo, you better hit it or it's about to go down, right? So I put that. I'm like, yo, I'm enjoying this. I'm getting through these segments and I'm doing what I do. So maybe my ego is coming down, because I'll be honest, like I think this is a me issue where it's just my ego, because I always beaten things without any help, any type. Like I always consider myself the hardcore, pure gamer. Cog is nice. Sure. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, bro, you older, you got a ton of games, you cover, you review, you try to do content. Who really cares? Why am I, I think me and King had this conversation. Like, why are we holding on to these sensibilities when we've done all this before? Like, we've proven ourselves in game spheres.
It's online, bro. It's the online space. They'll make you feel like you've done something wrong. I think it's great that you're doing that. Like, I do think, especially if it's holding you back from something like Eliza P, which I genuinely like as an experience, I will like die for. I'm like, this is something that you need to play before the sequel gets announced, because then it's like you get that moment ruined for you that is so pure, in my opinion. That I think if that ego is coming down, like I get you. There's times which me, the younger guy, right? Like I've lowered my ego for certain things. I talked about it with Dragon Quest III. Like I was playing it, I was like, it's a remake. This shit still feels old as hell, dude. Like I put it on the story difficulty or the easy mode or whatever it was. And I said in my review, people disliked the video and they told me to go fuck myself. And I was like, I don't care, dude. I'm having way more fucking fun this way. This shit feels old and bad if I'm playing it the other way. And so I happily played 3 Remake in that way. And it worked for me. And I think that's what it's all about, is like, you know that, like letting people police your joy online, like that's stupid as hell. Because it's like, at the end of the day, what got us here behind these microphones is like, we love doing this. We love playing games that's because we're always smiling and enjoying ourselves. So I don't like, I should never let that voice in our head that represents the online space like live rent free. That's like, are you doing it wrong? It's like, fuck you, bro. You don't get to tell me what I'm doing wrong. It's a fucking game. Obviously there's ideal experiences, but if you came to this podcast and you went, Matt, I beat Liza P. I played on the story difficulty. Dude, I'm here to talk to you about the story, honestly. I don't give a fuck about the gameplay. Like, that's the thing. So I think it's good that you're doing that. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, I haven't done it officially yet, but I think I will. I will say that. I think I will, because, especially with Liza P, in the sense of the fact that my main complaint against the Soul series, especially, again, I got to come for you from, is I just felt you kind of mailed it in on story. Like, you just doing, all type of very vague, abstract kind of things that I didn't feel really. And when I played Liza P, I was like, bro, this is what I want. Just give me that strong narrative and cinematic energy. And then I'll see the Pinocchio thing. So yeah, all right, Papa Fridge, y'all celebrate. And also, I'm curious. I want the Realm of the Dukes to chime in on this subject, because it is something I've been struggling with as I'm getting older. Should I do that, or should I keep my purist title and do things? Because in defense of the purist, I'll say this last thing before we move on.
Sure.
Is that I do feel in gaming, there is a sense of doing things that you thought was impossible and conquering said feat. And there is a feeling like, yo, I did that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I there's a part of me like, I know the specialness in that, right? But maybe I'm holding on. So I would put it to the Realm of the Dukes. Does COG need to, I would love write-ins for next week. Do I need to change my ways? Do I need to adapt, or no, stick to it at its purest form? You're shortchanging yourself, COG. Because this is where I'm at. I'm in the, what you call it, like, what they call it?
The internal struggle.
Yeah, you know when people get older, what they call it, an old man's crisis? What they call it?
The
midlife crisis. I'm in a gaming crisis. I don't know what to do at this stage of my life. So I'm willing to take advice for the Realm of the Dukes.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you opened up the forum. Yeah, I think with games like, I think it just goes, in my opinion, I'll just kind of cap it there, because then there's one other little nudge I'll give you, is I think it really comes down to the experience. Like Eliza P is satisfying because you do overcome that challenge, but I do feel like my joy of that game is more, as someone who's played and beat those kind of tougher games before, it's more rooted in like wow, that is a really good story. Like that is like, I'm really impressed how they managed to keep it as a pure Souls game while also, telling a great tale. That felt original, felt unique, and the world is so good, bro. Like I said, I just replayed most of the game this year to have my file ready for Overture. Liza P is legitimately greatness. But there are other games out there like Death Stranding. Like I feel like, for example, games, it should be an experience that you don't have to bend to as the player. Like, you don't have to submit yourself unless the designers decide that's the way they want to make the game. But I think most AAA style games should be willing to bend to whoever you want to be. So like in Death Stranding, like I did very little side content. It's like, I have no interest in doing the side content. I am here for the story and the Kojima weirdness, and that's all I really care about. Death Stranding 2, I might feel a little bit different about. We'll see. But
good things.
You know, like that's the way that game needed to bend to me, and it worked well. I felt like I didn't miss much at all, even though I know like there's the pizza delivery mission and all that good stuff, you know. But yeah, I'll be curious to see what the Dukes write in about. I feel like there's a lot who are in your position, and I think what most people need is like I'm trying to give you the validation shove. Like, yes, it's okay. Like, no one's gonna be mad at you. You're not less of a gamer. You still hold the controller more than 95% of people who probably listen to the fucking show. So that's how I look at it. But to nudge you just a little bit further, Lies of P sold 3 million copies. It's been confirmed. WRPG writes in, morning Dukes, I have to say it. Lies of P is my new favorite game. I can't stop playing this gem currently on my second DLC run with all the new upgrades, and the combat in this game is just sublime. Please spread the good word and have a I can't stop gushing about Lies of P kind of day. So there you go, Cog. Your final push there. I think, unfortunately for you, I don't think it's on Game Pass anymore.
No, I would pick it up. That was worth it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It was worth it. No, that I told you, you won me over, but when I play, I was like, no, this is it. I like
you're one
this.
of the 3 million. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Good. So that's what's going on with Lies of P. Just wanted to circle back around to Cog on that one, because the original story was just the sales data, but I saw that right in. Shout out to Papa Fridge, and I was like, this is a segment, bro. We need to what's going on here. All right, Cog. Let's talk about what we're playing. I want to kick it off with a write in here because I want to hear from you first. Bobby Tarantino says, hey, Dukes, I got to shout out my man, Lord Cognito, for putting me on some straight heat called the Altars. I bought the game because of Cog's pure enthusiasm and wow after just beating it. It's one of my favorite games of this generation. Remarkable writing and storytelling. Very curious if Cog thinks they stuck the landing, because to me, they definitely did. A lot of my choices kept me up at night, to say the least. Thanks, and have an alter ego approved kind of day. All right, Cog, I see what you've done this week. I'm excited to get the final thoughts.
Bro, shout out to Bobby Tarantino. Salute, man. That makes me feel good. The way you feel about Lies of P is the way I feel Altars. Altars is it's my COD game of 2025. Every year I have that one game that I feel punches above its weight. I take a risk on it and surprises me. And again, not to it's an Xbox podcast, but bro, if it wasn't for Game Pass, I would be knowing about these games. I got to be real, from obviously Path of the Goddess, Kunitsugaमी, so many games that I sat there. What was my joint? Planet Alana one year. Obviously, but that sense was not in Game Pass. But every year I have this one game that just really resonates. And the Altar, shout out to 11-Bit Studios.
Yeah, they're good.
Wow. Let's get to it. So beat the game. And this is what I knew I really loved this game, because I got the review copy for this game on Steam, played it, and then I'm like, okay, cool. But some choices I made didn't sit well with me in the mid game. And I was like, wait a minute, this is an Xbox Play Anywhere title, right? So now I get the ability. I said, you know what? I want to start over. So from Act 2, and I start from the beginning. This game has the perfect mix of base building inside the base and fallout shelter and management of people and personalities and atmosphere. Amazing. But what I undersold every time I spoke to you is outside the base, because outside the base is tension. First of all, from let's just say 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., you have this window in the day where you can only be out, when you could be outside. Once you get past 8 p.m., right? Generally, there's magnetic storms that can affect your radiation, and you have to get inside. You could die or pass out from a radiation outside in the exploration of the planet. Also, the way the game is set up is this. All right, nitpick. You have to find resources, whether it be enriched metals, organics, all these things. And the way it looks in the world is amazing. Rubidium, you see the shimmering, the light sourcing, phenomenal looking stuff. But the game is a little clunky when you got to do this scanner mechanic. I will say this, the part that is annoying, because you got limited time and you like, man, I'm out here. I got to get resources, because my favorite thing to do when you find resources, Maddie, is you put these little pylons, you put them down, right? And it's like a little train system, and you route it back to the base. So they got distances. You're like, all right, I got 100 meter. Oh, I think I can make it. And then sometimes they'll put obstacles, cliffs. So you're like, man, I got to you're making like a telephone pole system infrastructure to route resources.
It's very Death Stranding in a way.
Yes, critical resources that you got to get to this bit. So it's like you're feeding, it's like you're building a planet infrastructure to survive when you get to this area of each planet. And then you have the sun to contend with. So let's just say you have 5 or 6 days when you could be on this planet before the sun hits. And if the sun hits, late game is more of an end game situation. As it gets closer in the beginning of the game, it's more of a radiation situation. So what happens is this thing called the magnetic storm. Now, when a magnetic storm fully happens, Matty, it is all hell break loose in your bases. Modules start failing, life support, radiation protection, your kitchen breaks down. So now it's like, okay, I'm outside, but here's the risk reward. If you're out in the radiation storm, you get more radiated faster, but you can get more resources. So it's a push-pull. Do I stay out there, get as much as I need for it? Also sending my alters, hey, you fix that. You do this. Okay. It's this great management and tension. Now, through all of that, that's just the core survival resource stuff. Then you got the Mass Effect / personality stuff. Again, making these different versions of yourself at different points in your life. They've got their own personalities, their own hiccups, their own thing. And then here's where the game gets deep. This is really a game about humanity and the human soul. And I will say this game really questioned and challenged me in a well-written way. So many choices. I'm like, ooh, I sat on the screen. I don't know what to do here, right? Because if I do one thing, am I going against everything I stand for the benefit of just surviving and getting off of this thing? And then you'll have moments in the game where the alters, if you make decisions that they do not like, not only can they do things to you, not only can I heard there was a secret coup going. I was like, yo, why y'all dudes keep me in the kitchen, bro, without me not what's going on? Bro, I was like, yo, what y'all nothing. So, and then there are literally lessons to be learned from each one. I told you before, like, you know, there's the scientist, one of my favorite guys, you know, pragmatism. The botanist he's coming my number 2 favorite alter. Crazy dope stuff. But here's the dope thing about the game. Because you can't make every altar on a playthrough. Let's say about 9 or 10 of them. You can probably make 6. It's the most you can make. There are major beginning, midpoint, end game system with all consequences that now lead to something. Now, this is where I tested the game. So when I beat the game, major choice. I'm talking about edge of my seat. What is going to happen here? And what I like that the game does is they'll have you build craft things that could lead to 3 different options, right? You can have the choice to be like, I'm not even going to build some of these things and I'm just going to do what I want to do. That could set off a whole set of chain of events that you didn't even give people the other options, which is sick. Now you get to the end, the writing. Oh my God, it was so well done. There's also one thing that they do. There's an ending without spoiling. Remember Mass Effect? How about you remember Mass Effect 2? You remember it fairly well? Okay.
The ending for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in Mass Effect 2, they presented something that I'd never really seen in a game before, which was, you remember the character Samara? Yeah. She was like the Justicar. She was like an Asari blue, like she was like this very dominant Asari.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There was a mission in Mass Effect 2 that I'll never forget, and it was very ballsy for a game to do this, where they present a choice that could have you do something to that character and let's just say swap. It is the most boldest. Alters does something like this for one of their it takes it to the next level. And without spoiling, everybody who knows who knows who I'm talking about, I know which altar I'm talking about. There is something presented that was so well done. And I'm like, no, there's no way I'm going to do that. That what you talk about is inhumane. I'm not doing that. But after I beat it, I had to see it through and do other endings. Right? Bro, so well done. Now, here's my nitpick with the ending. Now, shout out to Bobby. The game, I loved it. My only nitpick, though, I got to take a little point, is the ending, as great as it is, and all the variants and the different choices, and it's well written. I feel like, damn, it was abrupt. You need to give me like a little bit more. Like, I'm like, you're about to do something even more amazing, and it just cut, and then the credits. I'm like, you can't leave me like that.
No post-credit scene?
No post. I waited. No post. So I do know there is DLC coming for this game.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I'm hoping that they extend that. But man, this is probably the most unique game in 2025. There's nothing like this. It is Death Stranding. It is Fallout Shelter. It is Mass Effect. It is XCOM. I told you about shout out to Alex Jordan. He got to win vocal performance from an actor, a vocal. Bro, he did every alter in the game.
Wow, that's impressive.
Maddie, not only like, bro, I had to shrink. Very distinct, very zen, very the scientist. Bro, he sounds like different people every time. And like, I don't even know how he gets into this vocal register for all these characters when they're so unique. I'm like, this is the same guy. I had to shout him out on Twitter. I was like, bro, your performance, they could have hired 6 people and been fine. He's like, no, I got this. I could be all the Jans. Bro, and then there's heartfelt moments. When you told me what Locke told you. I don't want to, I'm talking vaguely because the game has so many special moments that I'm just like, wow, this isn't a video game. This is really special stuff. Yeah, salute to, I cannot go on enough about it. And here's what I knew this game had me. I shut down every game. I'm not playing Final Fantasy XVI. I'm not playing Layoffs. I'm not playing. Because it was like, bro, not only did I beat it, I still now, there's a midpoint. And the corporation finds out stuff about you. And you have the option to go along with it, to listen to your alters. This decision is so deep and scientific and philosophical and humane. And I chose one thing that I thought was the humane thing to do. Some people said, bro, all you did was just big brother us. Now, you know what I'm saying? Because you have to worry about your fate after the mission and what's going to happen with them. Right? Because you're doing something that's really never been done in science. Like, bro, it's science, it's philosophy, it's humanity. It's a lesson here. And there's so many good, dope dialogue interaction. It is one of the most well-written games, I will say. By far. Because you as a person who loves writing.
Yeah.
It made me go, oh yeah, Maddie's right. There's levels to this. I forgot like really good writing. I'm like, man. And you can tell just when you go to the quantum, all I gotta say is go to the quantum machine when you first play the alters. Go to the quantum computer where they tell you, like, hey, you're gonna build your first one. Because the first one is always the technician. There's no spoiler. It's always the technician. It's the first alter you make. But before you make him, look at Jan Dolsky's life throughout and look at the excerpts of how they writ it and the visuals with the time. Bro, that could have been a book by itself.
Wow. Okay.
This is special. Like, 11-bit, I'm here. I'm going to replay again. Now, I think they are getting some controversy. I think they may have fixed it, but I'm not sure. Here's the big controversy. Okay. I don't mind this mechanic, but I understand people who don't like it. The controversy with the alters is this. Remember, you have a 24-hour day, right? As soon as the day ends, the game saves. The controversy is people like, hey, they want a scum save. They want to you make bad mistakes. It's oh well, and you died or whatever. Oh well, you going back to that save at the start of the day. So you could have did 7, 8 critical things. Alters, situation, life situation, resource. If you messed up, so it's a lot of it is getting. I don't mind. To me, it adds agency, it adds tension. But some people was like, "Yo, my playthrough got ruined. I didn't want to. I made an accident. I made a mistake." And apparently, I think they kind of bent to the feedback and was like, "We're sorry. We understand that. You guys are going through this, that, and third." So it's controversial. I wish they stayed on their square. I don't. I actually like the decision that they made it.
Yeah, you make consequence by letting the player choose to save when they want to save and kind of leaving it at that. So
yeah. So that's it. But I will go back. There's still a couple of alters I haven't done, and there's like I said, there's the mid game because there's like beginning, major choice of consequence, mid game, and then definitely end. And
kind of
mid
like
game,
a 3-act structure.
Yeah, it's a 3-act structure.
How
yeah.
long did it take you to beat, if you don't mind me asking?
I can't. I'm bad with time play because I stay too long on things and then I play on multiple consoles and I'm very bad with times play. So I don't know. I got to look at my thing. It doesn't feel like a crazy long game. I would say, yeah. What would be? We'll go to one of the sites. Was it Time to Beat or something?
Yeah, that's what I was
see what it says. Yeah. What's the alters time?
How long to beat is saying 17 to 23 hours.
Like 20. Yeah, it felt like 20. But man, what a ride, Matty. This is the COD game. And I will say, like I said, I want to shout out the UI team, the design team. The fit that Yandowski wore, bro. This developer got a deal because I think the fit is dope. I want to buy that suit. They're about to put it in Paris Fashion Week.
Really,
bro? I was about to buy. I'm about to buy. I saw how much euros it was. I was like, guess that's off the table. Bro, the Yandowski fit is fire.
I was just looking at it in the little thumbnail picture they had on their website. Yeah, 11-bit is great because they've done Frostpunk. They did the alters. This game sounds like an evolution of another game they did, This War of Mine. They're like they have some real choice-driven games. Thaumaturge is a kind of CRPG style game, but This War of Mine is like one that they did is really just like sad fucking game. But this is kind of like their DNA. They have some really like deep choice games, and so this sounds exactly like what I'd expect from them. So I'm very keen to give that a look.
Yeah, give it a shot, man. Shout out to the alters. I feel like they're Polish-based 11-bit for some reason. I feel like everybody's got a Polish game and Poland in the building, man. Polish in the build like devs. They did that. Shout out to the audio guy as well, Pierre Tor. Very moody, and again, a lot of tension in the game. Very atmospheric. But salute to them. Sci-fi do stand up. You got one with this.
Absolutely.
Let's go. What you doing, man? I'm dying for this. This is what I've been waiting for. I want to know. I want to know.
All right. Death Stranding 1 is done. The promise has been kept. Took a while to get here. It's actually surreal. Like I don't remember the last time I felt this immense amount of pride in being like, I beat this game. It must not beat hundreds, thousands of games in my lifetime, probably. But feels quite good to be sitting here just be like, I did it. Because it's just the game that I've avoided for so long. It's the game that I was so convinced I just would not like, was not for me, that, I kind of started on a whim. And as I kind of waxed poetic about the first 4 hours of the game, I was like, this is like a very special game, potentially. So I finally picked it back up in preparation for Death Stranding 2. And I did finish it in time. I had a Death Stranding. It was a little torturous. I had a Death Stranding 2 code since like June 10th.
So you show discipline.
Yeah. So I had this thing in pocket and, could have gone content creator mode, but I was like, no, I need to finish the original,
Wow.
So, played it through on my Xbox and finished it on my ROG Ally when I was in North Carolina. If y'all listened closely to the ending of the episode the prior week, Cog was giving me the walkthrough of the compact mode, downloading your updates. Cog, this shit was so slow. It was to the minute we were leaving that this thing was finishing its updates and stuff. And I was like, all right, I'm connected to the store. Let's hope this works. Scary moment too when we were driving to the airport because I was like, we were leaving already about 30 minutes later than we wanted to. Yeah. And there was traffic. And
I'm gonna miss the flight.
We were this close. But GPS was like a saving grace. Is like, save 50 minutes on this ride. I was like, oh my God, we're gonna make it. Yeah. So get on the plane. And I'm like, all right. Last Defense Academy was really calling my name. Our boy Jason Polanski of Atari reaches out to me.
Oh, that's the homie.
And he was listening to Duke and he texts me as I'm about to board my flight. He goes, play Last Defense Academy. Just got to this point, like really good stuff. Like, let's play it together. Because as people have been listening to me, I've been kind of on my harem route, and I'm not liking that route, right? So he texted me, and I had this temptation in my ear. I'm like, was like, man, I do want to play some Last Defense Academy. Like, I just got to get through that and see what's on the other side. And I'll talk about that in a moment because I do get on the other side. But I'm like, I got to stick. I thought of the Duke audience. I was like, I got to finish this, right? I'm on episode 10. And I keep getting told, like, yeah, dude, you're like right there. It flies. And I don't know if it flies because it's good or because it's short. And it turns out it's both. So, Rogue Ally, quick review.
Yes,
dude,
let's go.
This shit's battery life is so bad.
So terrible.
I do not have a power brick on me. I got an hour in and it died. I got an hour of gameplay in, and I will say this to compliment this device.
Talk to me.
It dies mid cutscene. And I'm just sitting there like on the plane going, bro, you might as well throw me out the window right now if I got to redo all this shit. I'm like, I am going to be so upset.
Good.
So I just literally like, you know, when you just accept your fate. So like we get to the apartment. I plug in the charger. I'm like, I should probably lost that shit. Like, go out to eat. Like, I just like we're doing our thing the whole night. I settle in. I'm like, all right, let's face the music. Like, let's see what we got here. So it's like midnight. I fire this thing up, bro. It resumes right where I left off. I went, what?
Let's go.
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I thought the application was shut. That dude, because I saw the windows like power off.
Hibernation mode to the rescue, baby. Yeah.
So that saved me. Saved me there. That probably saved the playthrough because I would have been. Death Stranding's not a game I want to replay. I'll get into that a little. But yeah. So from there, 2 2-hour sessions, Saturday, Sunday, and it was done.
Okay.
And overall, I liked it. Thought it was pretty good. The front end of the game, which based on what I read online, a lot of people kind of thought it was a little too slow in the front. I actually really liked it. Threw a bunch of questions my way. I didn't really know where it was taking me. I just had a lot of weirdness and creativity being thrown my way. The middle chunk of the game is where I really think the pacing struggles. And there's a lot of exposition dumps, whether it be like you're traveling and Dead Man's giving you like a character profile and like 4 different steps. I'm like, why are we doing all of this? But then you get to a certain point in the game where cutscenes start rolling and you get that exposition anyway, and it feels much more valuable there. So you're like, why did we do it in both these parts?
Got it.
There's points in the game throughout really its entire runtime where you're getting like context for what's happening in the world through just messages. Like, and there's probably hundreds of them, if not at least like dozens of them that you have to read through if you want to get the idea of everything happening with like these characters you've interacted with and like how after helping them, what happens with their stories. So that was another one. I'm like, you really got to like chase this story. And some people love that, like, you know, looking in and reading the code. It's like, I don't know. It's like me telling you, hey, Cog, if you want to get everything out of Mass Effect, read the codex. I'm like,
right.
I don't think you got to do that. You can play Mass Effect and think it's peak without even touching the codex and just seeing what the game hands to you. So a little bit of that and a little bit of time waster energy. Like, I just want to get my critiques out of the way, by the way, before I sing the praises, just because there are just so people know why I'm in the like, not love category. There is an episode, for those who have played it, I believe it's episode 5 to 6, where you travel to a snowy mountain place and someone tells you, we're not interested in your UCA business. It's like, okay. So you fast travel. You go back to this person after reading your email and learning your quest objective. And that person's like, yeah, we need to go back. So what do?
Yeah, you told me.
You go all the way back with this person on your back. And that is the moment I will say it was the only time in my whole playthrough I was frustrated because I went, you're taking my time for granted, Kojima. This is not what I signed up for. I think part of episode 10 also kind of did that to me where I went, bro, it felt like the game in certain stretches ran out of tricks. You know, it ran out of ideas and kind of had to fill out this runtime, and certain parts are more interesting than others in the middle of the game. Also, what hurt it, I think, were the boss fights not being great. Kojima is like a boss fight guru, you know, in Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 and 4. Like, he has just very creative boss fights that are unconventional and weird, but yet like also supernatural and kind of fitting in reality. Metal Gear Solid 3 being, of course, the most iconic of his boss fights. Death Stranding was just disappointing in this regard. And like, I didn't have much expectations. I was surprised in this game you could even use a gun. It was a pleasant surprise. I was like, oh, I got like, pop, pop, pop. Okay, cool. But what he does with it, I just don't think, you know, without spoiling it, I don't think was very good. Especially a giant we'll say a giant human boss fight, I was just like, what?
Like, what's going on?
You're just like in this small arena, just shooting rockets at it and just jogging around. It's like, I'm going to pick this up, shoot rockets again. Just, yeah,
you're good.
Boss fights weren't really great. So what did make me like this game a lot, right? It was the story. It was the message overall that was conveyed and how it is very Kojima-esque, and he does a really great job. It's something I wish more storytellers in the industry valued, which is timelessness. Like this game came out in 2019. It feels very current. It's something that we talked a bit about with like metaphor, right? We were like, this feels very relevant with the time period now.
I get you now.
But also I think with metaphor's messaging, you could play that game in 5 years and it's like, there's something there that's still being said. Death Stranding, given that it launched before the pandemic, is kind of astounding to be playing. You're like, whoa, we hear still to this day, so many people like, this is our pandemic project. This is inspired by the pandemic. This is how the pandemic infected us infected, sorry, wrong choice of words there. Yeah. It affected us. Yeah. And to have this game be made before all of that, as I'm sure many people have already said before, is crazy. Like you're alone, everyone's isolated inside, and you're using the chiral network, like basically the internet, to connect everyone. I thought that was just incredible on its own right. That feat aside, though, it is the set of messages that are conveyed that, again, to get that across, I feel like I need to spoil it, so I'm not going to. But I'll just say his messaging on connecting with other people, how even the most bitter of us can change and learn to appreciate one another. Messages on patriotism, messages on the state of the world, of countries and partnerships and global consumerism. Just a lot is said with this game that I found very interesting. And when it really ties the knot at the end, I will say, I was kind of in the wishy-washy area, but episode 10 and on, which is when it really becomes a movie and less about the game, is fantastic. It's really where he ties the knot on it and sends his message all the way home. It's driven by the main character and it feels really good. So the story helped a lot. What I will say caught me off guard, though, with all of my slander.
Okay.
Gameplay.
The who?
The gameplay.
Really?
Yeah, man. That package delivering simulator is super engaging. Like super, super engaging. Why is that? Okay, here's how I kind of gauge on a light area how tied to your game I have to be. Is how can I live my life outside your game when I'm holding the controller? By that, I mean, if there's a bag of chips next to me or I got a drink next to me, can I take my hand off the controller and just like, while like shit's going on in the game, holding like the left thumbstick forward and sneaking a couple of Lay's chips? Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? So I'm trying to do that, bro. I can't because I'm always like, Sam's falling off balance. I got to hold the triggers. When I'm not doing that, I'm like, pushing and pulling the left analog stick a little bit to get his momentum right. I'm kind of going down the side of mountains. I got to use my ladder. I got to use my climbing rope. I got to use my trike. I got to navigate the environment right. I got to make sure I got to use my scanner, make sure the river is not too deep. There's so many things. Timefall, BT showing up, using my cord cutter, taking them out. Like there's so much to manage and it's fun. I really was surprised to be like, yeah, this is actually the best part of the game. It's not the vibe of it. It's like, oh, this is really unique and engaging, and I can't take my hands off the controller when I'm playing it because it's demanding so much out of me. Like, truly what I'll say in a complete walkback is this is not a walking simulator, in my opinion. Like, the walking is the gameplay, though. Like, but to say it's a simulator, to me, insinuates, like, you're just point A to point B.
Right.
Like, there's, like, if I were to equate it to a JRPG, like, the rocks in the environment are like your grunts. Like you're always trying to navigate around them and fight through them. And you're always going to encounter them in your every run. And so the amount of animations that are put into the game for like climbing up these hills and where the rocks are placed and how Sam's like legs will go outward or inward, depending on where he is. It's really impressive. Like I was very pleased with it. You know, the managing of your inventory and sort of, you know, how much weight do I want to carry with me? And also the little Kojima weirdness realism checks that he does in his gameplay. Like, oh, you have a mile-high cargo stack. Okay, that's fine. But if you crouch in the bush and a mule sees your cargo stack out of that bush, bro, you're fucked. They're going to come for you. Yeah, it's that combined with like the dynamic nature of the world and like the mules running after you and wanting your cargo or the BT showing up and timefall kicking in. It's like, the cargo's deteriorating in real time. It's this really strange blend of Zen-like gameplay where sometimes it just takes over and you're just cruising, the music's hitting and you're just going to your next destination. But other times you're like, this shit's intense, bro. Like I gotta get there and, but I gotta hustle. Or you start to notice, like for me, my ultimate tense moment was my battery was running out on my all-terrain rig that I had on my legs. For those who don't know, basically there's different suits you get. Like there's a power suit, a speed suit, an all-terrain suit, and so on. These suits will kind of be useful in different areas. Like the power suit lets you carry more weight. You can kind of sprint with like a ton of weight on you. The speed suit is exactly what it sounds like. You run really fast. The all-terrain suit is super useful because when you are like going up a snowy mountaintop, like it'll, instead of using your endurance where sometimes you'll have to stop and catch your breath in place, it uses the battery of your device. However, my shoes had deteriorated fully and I was running out of battery and I was caught in a snowstorm. And I'm like, dude, I'm so close to my objective. And I kept having to like measure my breath, hiding underneath timefall shelters, seeing if I could wait out the storm a little bit. No, it's not given. Trying to see like what energy drinks I have on me and everything like that. That is what the game's about. And to me, that's like super engaging. But to call it a walking simulator is disingenuous from my experience. Like I was dead fucking wrong about that. Like that is not what it is at all. So yeah, I gotta say the gameplay really stole the show here. It's what made me excited about Death Stranding 2. I'm like, you're gonna improve this? You're gonna make this better? You're gonna build upon this?
The reviews are strong.
Yeah, the reviews look really strong. So I'm game for that. And I think really my hope is that the story is a little more focused. Have you just, I won't spoil it. The listeners will know maybe.
Yes.
Have you seen the Princess Beach moment? Mario and Princess Beach.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah. So this is the one moment I went, reel this fucking guy in, dude. That was the
only. I was just like, what's going on, bro? Like,
I will just say, and I don't want to color your opinion for when you get there, but I will just say it did make me authentically angry. I was like, I spent all this time and you're saying this, and that's deep in the game, bro. This is like a climactic point. And I will just, again, because I know I'm leaving without my commentary and why I think he did what he did. I know what he was trying to do at that point, talking about final fights and sort of things like that, but it just sucked, dude. It was a terrible line. I don't care if it's Kojima. I do like him a lot. I respect him immensely for his like really weird creative vision, but like there is something to like, you keep people around these types of creators to kind of be like, hey, dude, hey, this whole walking thing is already pretty weird. Let's take this line and just like, maybe like not connect it to Mario and Princess Peach and call it like this is, let's just not. Like, it's funny because there's multiple writers on the game, but I know that's Kojima.
You know that was it. You forced that one in.
There's no fucking way any other person would have not been fired for that line except Kojima was like, are you sure, man? Like, yeah, it's great. You know what it reminds me of? I was watching one of the shows Layla and I were watching when we were in North Carolina was a show called The Studio. It's with Seth Rogen. And have you heard of this?
I've heard of this stuff. I've heard of it.
I think it's hilarious, by the way. But there's an episode where I'm forgetting the director's name, but he has a scene that's apparently commemorating his dead cousin. And so it's got a bunch of like famous actors and directors in it. And they're all showing up and they're like, yo, this scene's ass. But like, how do we tell him? And so like Seth Rogen as the studio director shows up and he's like, yeah, it's great. Actually, we love it. Like we think you should keep it. And so they're like, yeah, man, awesome, cool. And so like it's like a literal rotation of like different people in the organization. Like, bro, I got it. I'll handle this. Like,
I'll handle it.
I'm gonna go tell him how bad it is. We're gonna cut it. And so like Seth Rogen's standing there with like his new like one of the new employees. He's like, I'll handle it. And she's like, I'm just such a big fan. Like I thought that was such a really unique part of the story. It really cemented home like the emotionality of it. The marketing director's like, I loved it. And so the studio director catches up with her. He's like, so what did you think of the ending? She's like, oh, put a bullet in my head. I hated it. It's such a funny episode because I just finished that segment and that was on TV and I went, there's something here. The universe is trying to tell me. Like, this was like Herman Hulst, like, dude, Kojima, bro, that connection to Nintendo, brother, I love that. And then they step away. They tell the marketing director of PlayStation, how the fuck do we get that out? Someone's got to fucking tell him. And Kojima's like, I was commemorating my dead cousin in that moment there.
You're like, oh, I get you. Like there's certain things like maybe, he's probably very strong about. He felt super strong about no one could kind of reel that in if they didn't like it.
I also wonder if just after this was his post Konami game.
This is post Konami.
I feel like there was a level of PlayStation being like
let him go because we don't want a situation.
Yeah, like we're the saviors right now. It was a good choice ultimately, but and it did sound like it ruined the story, but it definitely is the sore spot in my head of, dude, no. Especially because if it's commentary about, we'll just say video game endings and whatnot. Number one, it feels just out of touch for where I think video game endings were at that point and where they are now. I also just feel like, to me, commentary is naturally woven into the fabric of the game's narrative, like a metaphor. This was not naturally woven in. It was really bad. But despite all of that weirdness and stuff, it is, as people said, authentically Kojima. Yeah. The gameplay is great. I enjoyed the message of the story. I thought it was very thought-provoking. I'm curious how 2 will carry it forward because it felt very self-contained. And also, I'm curious if 2 will be able to carry itself long-term like I think Death Stranding 1 has. So I hope that Kojima had something meaningful to say with this game. Yeah. So with all of that, also, by the way, Clifford Unger and like the shots of this character, he's the military dude, Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah. So cool. The cool factor is off the charts, bro. There's so many shots where the way Kojima shoots his cutscenes, he's a huge movie fan, right? Yeah. It's something that he's so ahead of the pack on. It's so obvious. Like just the way characters interact, the way camera moves, where you just have these moments where it's like, oh, he was like watching a Tarantino movie and like wanted to take that trick and kind of put it into his game. It's really wonderful. I have to say, I wish more cutscenes were shot the way he did them, which is very movie-like. Like they figured it out over like 100 years. We're still kind of new to the 3D style storytelling, but I'm very excited to play Death Stranding 2. And funny enough, like I don't feel the burnout from Death Stranding because I really enjoyed the gameplay. So I'm keen to jump into 2 pretty soon here. But I wanted to get 1 done, and I had to show some real fucking willpower, man. Especially because it's dry season on YouTube. So I was like I was talking to my editor Dan. He's like, "What do we post today?" I'm like, "Bro, we're posting nothing. I don't know what nothing going on." So I was like, "I got to take a day to figure it all out." But I was looking at Death Stranding 2, like, yeah, you could have been the answer, but I made the right choice. I finished the first one. Now I've earned my way into game 2.
Let's go.
So
love it.
Done. Yeah, that monkey off my back.
You did it, man. I'm proud of you. That's what's up.
Are you ever going to finish that one? Have you decided if you're going to?
Debating because Gene's got me in a weird position because we did Summon Sign. And at the time, he was like chomping at the bit. He couldn't talk about it, right? Death Stranding 2. And I'm like, man, I still got 1 to do. And he was like, look, Cog, I know you ain't going to like to hear this, but he was just like, you can jump into 2. I was like, really? So the vibe I'm getting is
that, Gene, please. I went through so much to get here.
I know, but I was like, why do we feeling sacrilegious? Because it's like, for the fact that, you know how I am when stuff does come to Xbox, I like to support. And I got it from day one. And it is a play anywhere title, you know, that kind of thing. So,
which was clutch, as we talked about with Rogue Ally, that clutched up my playthrough.
Bro, you know how many games I get finished now, bro? I'm so happy about this thing. Yeah. So part of me is just like, well, now that you did it, and then maybe with the if I get the blessing of the Dukes, and is there a story mode? is there an easier mode? Because I just want to get through it so I could play, 2 at a normal pace. Because I just hate being behind the zeitgeist, and I feel like this is why I really feel like I have to play it, is because, bro, these Metacritic reviews is like nice, like a 90, right? Yeah. And now I got this. I haven't been able to do this in years. This will be the first gaming year, that I have legit been able to play and finish every contender. Right? And now we got this, because Yo Time will get, if that ever is in the conversation, right? And, the Last of the Mohicans is Death Stranding 2. So part of me is like, I will have this weird gap if I don't beat that. You know what I'm saying? And I want that resume to say, every year Gaming Year comes out, I'll be like, damn, I never played that. I wonder how that was, right?
Yeah, Death Stranding 1 took me about 40 hours. I think you can trim that a little bit if you do like no side content.
Got to find out if they got one of the modes.
They definitely do. That is one that I would say to you,
don't, because of the
gameplay and the balancing. It's not like you're shaving off as much time as I think you might.
Think you are. Okay.
Yeah, like it adds to it a little bit, but look into it. Like,
I'll look into it.
It's obviously up to you how you want to, but I will say that's one where I don't know if it would save you time
Right.
And you could just save that extra time by like just mainlining it, and you'd be
And
fine.
here's the other thing. I'm so torn because like literally my Xbox experience right now is 2 PlayStation games that I need to beat that I want to beat. Final Fantasy 16 and Death Stranding. And it's like, God damn, I'm just getting into all just messed up everything.
Yeah. Well,
I was
lucky
like,
for you, 16, if you don't do the side content, is also really short for a JRPG.
yes, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
And 16, I'm able to blaze through. So that's the thing. And then 2 just came out now. I gotta say, I got a tough business decision, man. This is tough. I
I'd
didn't
say finish
expect
16 first. You've been waiting on that, of course. But
I love 16 right now.
Yeah.
Like emotionally, my heart is here. And you know me, and the dominated Clive and the Tekken thing.
Sure.
And it's like I'm in a Clive bag right now. And I'm like, oh man. But I want to be part of the concept. So I probably will put it up. But I'm curious what the Rubber the Dukes also with this decision, like I said, when it comes down to the story.
You're putting the fate of your gaming career in
yes.
the audience's hands.
No, I like to hear feedback, good or bad, criticism, not just to see where people are with this kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll give you exactly what you need, though.
Yeah, and last thing I said, and also I said I did Splitgate, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Expedition 33, Death Stranding might be the only one, and then Your Time potentially on the Game of the Year contenders. And then what was the indie darling that everybody loves this year?
Blueprints?
Yeah, so it's like I'm everything I've played. So that's what's gonna gnaw at me if I don't play Death Stranding 2.
I get you. For me, I have a bigger problem.
Oh,
because now I'm playing Last Defense Academy, right? So
let's go.
So Last Defense Academy is a huge game. I checked actually for the first time in a while yesterday, and I have over 50 hours in this game now, and it just feels like I have no end in sight. I've like read online, like like for you to see everything in this game, it's like 130 hours or something like that. So I feel like I'm just going to be chipping away at this game for a long while, but I've been putting decent chunks into it. So the good news, ladies and gentlemen, I have finished the harem storyline. It is done. It was not good. And also the ending was not satisfying really at all. I denied everyone. I professed my love to someone else. I got rejected. It was a shit ending. I was like, fuck this. All right, I'm out. So I go back to my timeline. I'm feeling refreshed and renewed, and all the options are laid out before me. I'm so excited because I'm like, oh my God. Because I got to be honest, dude. After you get through the first 100 days and you get to this timeline, you're able to jump all around. I'm like, okay, like the game was on like this steady incline and it kind of plateaued for a while there. I am very happy to say it is killing game time. And I'm on this fucking story right now that I am all over. I am thinking about it. I'm trying to get into. I was dead tired yesterday because when our AC broke, like I was helping the dude fix it, and like it was super hot, so I was super tired. So I got in bed after showering, like got maybe an hour in. I also did some writing, so I got maybe an hour in, 30 minutes if I'm lucky. But it's like that type of story where I'm like, 30 minutes is good enough. All right, I'm going to bed. Like, that kind of thing. Where, dude, I mean, it is Danganronpa now. Like when I was talking to Jason about it, and we were talking about how it's like an Uchikoshi game. Like this is a guy who did like The Virtue's Last Reward. Like he did Zero Escape. Like he made this really intriguing, crazy world. And this is like definitely one of his worlds, but then it's full of Danganronpa characters. So like for visual novel fans like I shouldn't say that, for fans of Zero Escape and Danganronpa like myself, because I'm not really a full visual novel fan, this is like perfect right now. Like, oh my God, it's right in its groove where I always wanted it to be. People are dying left and right. There's a ton of mystery, a ton of suspense, a ton of intrigue, a ton of choice and consequence. I am really loving it. So I'm gaining the momentum again. Right now with what I'm playing, it's like Last Defense Academy is the main big one now that Death Stranding 1 is down. Otherwise, looking at my game schedule here, it's Pokemon Scarlet, it's TMNT Tactical Takedown, it's Mario Kart World, which is kind of just like a infinite whatever, like not a big deal. So yeah, like I'm actually kind of pumped where outside of Death Stranding 2, I think I do need to finish KCD 2. I'm looking at it now. But outside of
you messing up on that.
Yeah, I know.
That's something.
I know. So Last Defense Academy, like you know what I'm seeing is that I have a window right now. And I'm going to go for it. Like, I know it's going to push back. Like, I'm going to try to start Death Stranding 2, but I know KCD 2 is going to get pushed back even further. But I see a window right now with Last Defense Academy where it's like, you can go for it here. Because once August comes into full swing, bro, you are going to get swept away. So like,
It's over.
I'm trying to be opportunistic. Like I know it's now or never. So I'm going for it here in Last Defense Academy. And I've been having a great time with it. And we'll see. Because again, the thing I don't know, and I don't want to do too much research on, is like to see everything. Is that the true finale? Because that's what I want to see. I'm so into what's happening here in this world and answering all these mysteries. But I don't know if that's it, or if these are just like, oh, well, if you want to see like what I did, the harem route, which sucks. Is there like a ideal golden route kind of playthrough, that sort of thing? I don't know the answer to that yet. So I don't know if I'm actually playing a game that I'm more than halfway through. Yeah. I don't know if I'm playing a game that I'm technically just scratching the surface of. I don't know. But there's also more challenging fights happening, and a great feature that I don't think they might have added in a patch. I don't know, because this was not in until I got this deep into the game, is a skip battle feature. So when the timelines converge, there are certain fights that'll repeat. And the game, if you've done them once before, will be like, do you want to skip these? And I always say yes, because I'm like, what's the point in fighting? They still give you the reward as if you fought.
Yep.
So, which is great, by the way. So you kind of feel like
Wealth does that. I love that.
Yeah, like you've cheated the system a little bit, but in a fair way where it's like, no, I did the fight. Like I just don't want to do it for the 14th time. It's a little laborious, like skip this segment, but it's good that it's there, because it lets like, that's why the story's taking over. Because I'm just going now, and like it's just story segment after story segment. When the fights happen, they're the meaningful new ones. So I don't know if this was a new thing they added in a patch or not, but if it's in there, it might just be because I'm seeing it now because I'm so deep in the game. But I've just been really having fun with the Last Defense Academy killing game, and sort of some of the things that they're insinuating about my character now. They're calling me some names.
Ooh,
and,
titles.
I'm getting a title that is not fitting for my main character. So, evil stuff is being done. Bro, like, this Takumi Samino means business.
It's spewing hate. Okay.
Yeah. You get to see all these different angles of these characters. So, I'll have more updates as time goes on. But for now, we push onward. And Cog, we move into our major news of the show.
Yeah.
We have major layoffs inbound at Xbox. Jason Schreier has the report on Bloomberg. He writes that Microsoft will conduct another round of major layoffs in Xbox's gaming division next week as part of a company-wide reorganization. Managers within Xbox are expecting substantial cuts across the entire group, according to people familiar with plans who asked not to be identified. Discussing non-public info, the company has declined to comment. This will be the fourth big layoff at Xbox in the past 18 months, following 3 major cuts last year and the closure of several subsidiaries. Xbox, which produces video game hardware, has been under pressure from Microsoft executives to boost profit margins since purchasing Activision Blizzard, for $69 billion in a deal that closed in 2023. All right, continuing on here. The Verge adds a little bit of additional context here. Tom Warren writes, Microsoft is planning major Xbox layoffs next week. I first reported in Notepad earlier this month that Microsoft was planning Xbox layoffs potentially by the end of the month, and now Bloomberg says they are due next week. I understand managers at Microsoft have been briefed about Xbox cuts and wider layoffs in other parts of Microsoft's business. The upcoming cuts are also expected to hit Microsoft's sales organization just at the start of the new financial year. Microsoft is planning to restructure its Xbox business as it looks ahead to next generation consoles. One source tells me Microsoft is restructuring Xbox's distribution across Central Europe, resulting in some Xbox operations ceasing in some regions. These latest layoffs will be in addition to the 6,000 cuts Microsoft already made in May, and on top of the more than 300 impacted earlier this month too. Any major Xbox cuts will be the latest in a big series of gaming-related layoffs over the past 18 months, as I already covered here. Microsoft also laid off 650 more Xbox employees in September and also cut around 1,000 employees from its HoloLens and Azure cloud teams in June last year. So they are hacking, whacking, slashing over there at Xbox. KB has the write-in. Says, hey, gents, Jason Schreier is reporting another round of Xbox layoffs, and I think it's time to call balls and strikes here. The 2018 class of acquisitions, with the exception of Playground Games, has been massively disappointing. We are now at the point where Naughty Dog, despite a major cancellation and significant internal disruption caused by The Last of Us Online, is still likely to release its next game around the same time State of Decay 3 finally comes out from Undead Labs. The obvious response might be that Naughty Dog is a much larger studio, and that's fair, but the scope and ambition of their games are also on a completely different level. Outside of Playground Games, which already has a strong working relationship with Xbox before the acquisition, none of the studios from the 2018 class have delivered a true needle-moving title. And at this point, it's getting harder and harder for the fan base to keep their heads in the sand and ignore it. My question is this time last year, as Microsoft's fiscal year came to a close, Tango Gameworks was shut down only to be later picked up by Krafton. With the fiscal year ending again, do you think any other studios could be facing a similar fate? Thanks, KB. Cog, your thoughts on the layoffs and the write-in.
All right. So shout out to obviously the reporting from Schreier and Warren in reference. This is awful stuff. I mean, obviously, again, more layoffs, again, more cuts. It's just so tiring. And again, to be fair, this is not just indicative of Xbox. This is indicative of the entire games industry. So we have to be clear that this is not isolated. Every time we do Duke, we talk about some studio, some publisher, someone laying off, or we're talking about studio closures, right? This has been consistent. And to me, this is, I guess my frustration lies is that we have still not fully course corrected from a post-pandemic gaming economic overshoot, right? So that's how I look at it. As far as, KB, shout out to KB, salute to I feel what he's saying with the balls and strikes, but I think that's a bit excessive. I mean, you can't say outside of Playground, which made a Game of the Year contender, and outside of with Forza Horizon 5, and then outside of potentially Fable, the whole entire class of 2018 is disappointed. I don't go there. To me, this is what the situation. Now, if you want to say they don't have a Game of the Year contender, I'll say that. Okay, that's fair. Like, to me, they're the class of 7 and 8s or 80 to 82 Metacritic is what they are.
82 Metacritic class.
And that's fine. And here's the thing, though. But see, this is where I want to push back. And sometimes, I think in gaming we have this thing where if something is not a 90 Metacritic, it is a failure. I really got to push back at this narrative. I keep seeing that it's like, bro, there are games that are just good, and that's fine, right? Not everything is going to be 95 Game of the Year. And yes, some studios are built better than other studios. There's levels to it, right? Some people, they produce this level of stuff. Now, if what I will give KB is, Undead Labs, you're in the front of the congregation of what you're doing. What the hell I've been and that's one of my favorites, but I kind of call a spade a spade. Like, they have been, disappointing is a strong word, but it's just like the output is what's happening, right? And then if you want to say initiative, they actually show Perfect Dark, but prior was kind of like, yo, what's happening? You still got a thing to prove. So look, Obsidian's part of this class last time I checked. They just got 3 titles that are dropping this year, and then pretty much everything they've dropped has been quality. So again, I'm not with these narratives that it's all doom and gloom. The only person, if you could say Compulsion, all right, you know what? That was not critically acclaimed. All right. Or it didn't move the needle. If you want to say Ninja Theory, for as long as you waited, bro, you should have. Fair enough. I'll give you that. But again, both games rated 80 to 82, right? And but I will say that I will give y'all this. It's safe to say they were commercial flops. I think I feel so. Maybe when this hard data comes out, because I don't think we got South of Midnight's hard data, but I'm going to assume that it wasn't a commercial massive success. So to the writers and everyone that comes in about studio, I think the fair question, I think me and you've always talked about this. Even if you're a critical success, if you're not a commercial success in Microsoft's new timeline, how do you survive as a studio? How do you maintain viability? How do you prove your worth to be able to exist in a climate where they need financial results post ABK? That's the question. That's the real concern. That's the fear. Not they've been a failure. I just don't see it. So that's where I'm at. As far as the whole moving forward with was it Tango and stuff like that. Obviously we knew about the situation and what we heard about it was the fact that they were pretty much an extension that they couldn't reach and be able to do other things as far as support studio, and they were saved. We can't say for the fact that they were saved. From my understanding, from good authority, that was internally by Xbox to make sure that specific studio got able to live on through craft on, you know what I'm saying, that kind of thing. So that's it. We're in this timeline right now where, unfortunately, as far as the ABK situation is concerned, it is still, you have to show me and you have to produce revenue to justify said thing. And that's why we saw the aggressive, in my opinion, with the multi-platform strategy. Yeah. And that's why I see right now still the results of consolidation and what you call it when it's what's the word, with redundancies, when there's still tons of stuff that it's like, okay, hey, we really don't need two marketing departments. We don't need y'all. That's what I still see. I'm not making excuses for it, but it's just one of those things that it's still unfortunately part of it. And the last thing I'll say is this: for the people who say, "See, Cog, you're just defending the ABK because you did." Okay, let me paint the timeline. Let's paint the timeline where ABK is not purchased and Bobby Kotick is running it into the ground and they have to go away. And let's say now we shut down. This is extreme, but I'm just saying, let's say we have to shut down Treyarch or whatever. Do you want that timeline? Do you want that timeline where these companies we see what's going on with WB, we see what's going on with Lottie? Do you want the timeline where they stay independent, but they can't survive on their own and they're dead? Do you want the timeline with Bungie, as bad as they are right now, right? Where they don't get picked up by Sony and they're dead and they're out of here. So again, we got to be clear at the point of acquisition where these studios were prior and what was the trajectory. Do you want a timeline where Bethesda is out of here?
Absolutely not.
Exactly. So that's why I miss me with
not
all
my beloved Bethesda. Ever.
Yeah, all this talk I'm seeing about consolidation was evil. No one's talking about how dudes were surviving on their own accord, and how they were driving themselves out of the industry. No one wants to talk about that. So that's why I don't get into this. It's evil, evil, evil. Remember, I'm always about live to fight another day. At least you get to live. You get to say, even with Xbox, I didn't necessarily like the strategy with putting your games everywhere. I'm worried about your brand identity. I'm worried about with the console stuff. Now, yes, some data is supporting that. You may be right. But again, do I want to wake up and they're the Dreamcast and they stop existing? No. So that's why I'm always going to die on that sword. And that's pretty much where I'm at with this whole thing.
Yeah, I'm of multiple minds of this news here. I think the most frustrating part is, I just remember watching an interview during Summer Games Fest. It was with our man Rubes, but he was interviewing Phil Spencer, and Phil can't help himself, but like kind of spout like the business is doing well. It's about the business. The business is doing well. We've made it sustainable. I'm trying to create a sustainable business. And when I see mass layoffs preparing to happen again, I'm like, how fucking sustainable is it, bro? Like we just launched how many games in Q1? Game Pass was popping off in Q1. How sustainable is it if we're doing really well here? And obviously, I think it's posturing clearly, for shareholders and whatnot. But that's frustrating in its own right. That it's you're kind of saying one thing and something else is clearly happening here. The other is it might be, with the Verge's reporting, solidifying Xbox pulling out of some regions. I wonder what that means for their hardware push in the next generation, and sort of what, like, are they just kind of saying, are they, how PlayStation pulled out of Japan pretty much at one point and they were like, yeah, we're just focused on the West. Like, is Xbox about to do that? They're just like, you know what? Like, we have not been able to break through in Europe. Like, let's just shoot for the West and see if we can crack through in Japan. Like, have they just cut their losses? I think that would be frustrating too, because especially if you're doing Xbox everywhere, then I feel like you should be in every region too. What does that mean for physical game distribution as well? I think it's very obvious where they're going. That is but to be clear, Cog, not bitching and moaning, but like, I think that'll be a pain point of this. Like, I do think those the physical distributors were not shut down. I think their days are fucking limited. I hope the people who are working there are looking for other jobs, because there's no way Xbox is going to continue running that part of the operation, especially as they're looking to next gen with that announcement from Sarah Bond. Like, no shot that thing has a disk drive. If it does, I will eat my damn shoe on camera. There's no fucking way that has a disk drive.
You get that out, that built in. We gonna get that option. We gonna get that kickstand.
No, I don't even think there'll be an option.
Ooh.
I'll go that far. I don't think they're gonna be like, you're gonna download it. Go join Game Pass. You'll have it digitally. Like I don't think they care a single bit about your disc.
It's a good bet to make. I would say. I think your chances are good.
I just think the vast amount of purchasers on Xbox who are still buying things physically is so small that I do think they will piss a lot of people off and it'll make noise and sites will cover it. But I do think Xbox is going to try to bulldoze it. Like I'd be so surprised if they did like the extra disc attachment like the PS5 Pro did or something.
In your defense, I mean, every subsequent iteration of Series S and Series, even Series X, which was the disc-based console, there is the discless Series X now, right? And stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it definitely seems to be trending that direction.
Yeah. So on the write-in about the class of 2018, I am in agreement of some parts of like, yeah, I do think it's been pretty disappointing. Like, I've talked my shit a lot about their output and how I do think some teams either mismanaged themselves into the ground on Dead Labs or took Xbox on a ride, Compulsion and Ninja Theory. And just for what we got out of those waits as fans, not even looking at the business, I don't know if there's a world where Xbox is really like thrilled about it. As I've said before, I just can't imagine and look, for example, we look at what led to the shutdown or rolling in of multiple Bethesda studios. And when I assess that, I think of how Hi-Fi Rush did at least decently well. And then I look at the potential performance of a Hellblade 2 or South of Midnight. I'm like, these games definitely weren't even flying anywhere close to a game from a company that had a pedigree and well-selling titles or I should say, not say well-selling titles, but I think The Evil Within 1 did well. From there, it was like rocky waters. But, from there, you have something like Hi-Fi Rush was like, yeah, like this is your prestige piece. Like this is also like just looks like it's doing well. They still almost get shut down until Krafton saved them, which was good to see. So I feel like in this much more cutthroat Xbox, like I know Compulsion's gone on record of saying like, yeah, we're making games for Game Pass. Like we serve this very specific need, more cultural style games. I respect that, but I don't think Xbox or Microsoft cares one single bit about that anymore. Like they are way over that and they are now about making money and they do have games and big ones at that. So I do worry a bit for I don't know what I should expect out of this kind of set of layouts. I don't know if I'm expecting studio shutdowns. I feel like that's always like,
that to me
the positive part of my brain just says like, no, that can't happen yet. But I also don't know the dollars and cents of it. So I could be, my guess will never be good on this. I don't know. No. I could see a world though where it happens just because it's like, yeah, we're looking at games that haven't performed well. I think Ninja Theory is probably safe because they're going to be releasing in August the next gen update for
60 frames per second,
for Hellblade 2, and it's going to PS5. That's a full release, and that's at least some sort of commitment to the future. At the same time though, Redfall was preparing to do like post-launch support, and they had plans, and Xbox just came and yanked them, dude. Like it didn't matter that Arcane Austin had a history. They were just like, you're done. So I think that plug can be pulled quickly, and the people at the top of even those studios might not even know. Right. So it's really anybody's guess.
What about machine games? No, we ain't got no machine games love. No indie.
Oh, I love machine games.
Circle. No, I'm saying like I just concerned about the over emphasis on the failures versus the minimization
Bethesda was their
of
best
the
purchase.
success.
People hate on Bethesda so much, but Bethesda saved Xbox probably more than Obsidian did in a lot of ways. Bethesda has filled out that calendar for Xbox tremendously, especially when they like had no exclusives. Like Bethesda saved 2023 single-handedly. Like Hi-Fi Rush and Starfield. Like, and honestly, if Redfall wasn't awful, you could throw that in the mix. But Bethesda was like a huge part of filling out value for Game Pass early on when they first bought them. Like that's 100% their best purchase. And when you have Elder Scrolls 6 in the tuck, like, come on, dude. Machine games and Indiana Jones, like
massive.
I am one of those people who says like, I do think Xbox had probably one Game of the Year contender in indie. I thought that game was fucking phenomenal. So like, I do think it's up there. I feel like they have done that before, but yeah, like Bethesda to me is a whole different beast from the adopted children of 2018, which is
Right.
like
I get where you
the
go.
cherry picking of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, with Activision Blizzard and stuff, that's more of like, we're just learning over time. It's more and more of just like a business thing, man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like, we're not seeing much fruits born from Game Pass on it. It's, I guess Call of Duty is really the main
it's the Call
one,
of Duty and
but
Big
in the
Boy
terms
Shop.
of like reactivating old IP and back compat, we didn't fool ourselves.
Yes.
Most of that stuff, like we were pretty level headed about those takes, but it definitely feels just business. So when you assess the lineup of acquisitions, I do feel like Bethesda is absolutely the best example of like how it goes well. Like you get a good exclusive, like Starfield was a top selling game, whether you love it or hate it, like all things went well in that regard. Wasn't a horrible price.
To
So
me,
yeah,
not to cut you, but to me, it's what you said. It's Bethesda, Playground, Obsidian. Those three are like creme de la creme, and in my opinion, like really.
If you remember
pushing them forward.
Redfall, I think like Bethesda is just by and large the best thing they did. Because it adds so many. Originally in their kind of exclusive push, it just added so much value to what their exclusive library would be. I'm like, holy shit, dude! Like some of these deals, dude, make sense too when you look at like what they would do with Elder Scrolls. I'm like, Elder Scrolls was Xbox exclusive for like 2 games in a row. When it came to consoles, so there is history there, but nonetheless, layoffs inbound and disappointing to see nonetheless. We'll see how things shake out in the following week. Hoping it won't be studio closures, but obviously we'll be here to talk about that.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think I think to me also the other argument that I think is fair to discuss is in reference to, I'm always worried about when someone doesn't talk about numbers or doesn't talk, and it's been a minute since we heard from Game Pass numbers.
I agree. Yeah,
and that's always
true. That's a good point. Yeah.
Because my thing is this, like, to me, you're having the renaissance of all renaissances on Game Pass. Game Pass 2025 is literally the most like amazing lineup I've ever seen from them. And it's like, we have yet to get, hey, we're at 50 million now. It's been a year since they provided Game Pass numbers.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
That's not a good sign.
Using our Final Fantasy 16 logic, coming full circle here.
Exactly. There we go. Yeah. When companies don't beat their chest over it. So to me, I hope I'm wrong, but I would have to assume that those numbers are stagnant and flat, and they are not moving anymore. And they've already hinted that PC Game Pass, that's where the growth is. PC Game Pass, that's where the growth. So to me, that's like, okay, consoles kind of stayed the same, but even with all this year and a year with Call of Duty and all that stuff in regular, you didn't have that. So now it becomes, okay, well, if that's stagnant, and again, I'm guessing, no hard information, is that why we are so aggressive with the pushing of the multi-platform strategy? And how beneficial is that now that that's kicking in and you're seeing these results, coming in? Like how does that help the business, right? How is it truly making you guys sustainable? I think those are fair questions, to ask. And then obviously in a world where hardware seems to be deprioritized, obviously I should say, yes, they're making it. We got the announcement, AMD, yes. But to your point, right, with Tom Warren, hey, they may be pulling out of certain regions. Hey, we may not be subsidizing this anymore. This may be I think those are the fairer questions to ask and pertain to the future of Xbox and what happens to them and their sustainability, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're onto something a little bit with Game Pass and that potential flat growth, because no updates for over a year. I mean, they've gone really long stretches without Game Pass number updates. And so that's never really a good sign, especially because I think we incidentally got one time and we started doing the math of like how long it had been and then how much had been gained over that time. And I think it was like a 5 million jump. And we're like, we thought it'd be more than that. So I always wonder with like the quality of games entering Game Pass, like they're probably paying more for it. I've had a lot of indie teams tell me like they call it the Game Pass Gold Rush, right? Yeah. Naturally, of course, I'm gonna fucking look into that. So I'm just like, what's going on there? And they're like, yeah, it's tough to get in now. Like that barrier has been raised. And what I've learned through my pitching stories here that I can't wait to share more about at some point, but like there are companies that will reject you because they are looking to spend a higher amount. Like we're in the business of doing big budget right now, actually. Like your game looks great, for example, but we're not looking to spend that little. Like we're looking to sign on high profile, like high budget games.
Interesting.
And so
okay.
I look at that and I think about Game Pass and how I'm hearing indie devs be like, yeah, it's tough to break in now. It's not as easy as when they were first growing.
Yeah.
And then you look at the games they're bringing in and like even Rematch, like from Slow Clap, is like a more high profile indie game, right?
Yeah, good point.
You know, Lies of P, like that's a high profile. It's like a new team that's high profile. Expedition, of course, high profile, like high fidelity.
Good
the
call.
list goes on. Like, you know, Blueprint seems like the tweener, like it kind of squeaked on by, but the game might have been more complete when they pitched for Game Pass, that sort of thing.
Wu-Chang, and again, and it was why I keep bringing up Wu-Chang, I believe Chinese based and high profile Souls kind of thing. Like, I think you're onto something with that.
Yeah. So I think they're spending more on it. And to the point of what you were saying, like if they're spending more on it and it needs to do better, like I don't know. Like if it's growing, then they may have thrown more budget at it. But also if it's not growing, Microsoft may have been like, let's throw more budget at this thing and see if we can stimulate growth. Because Game Pass team's done their job.
Yeah,
they've done their job amazingly.
They got a Game of the Year contender in the service. Like,
multiple, bro. Like they ice in their veins. They had laser precision on what they needed in their service that would add value to it. So if it's not growing with these types of games, what do you say?
Exactly.
You've got first party kind of rolling. In fairness, first party has not been on fire.
True.
Maybe they have, but you know, they're and to people's definition of on fire.
On fire, yeah.
I mean, like dropping bangers. It's really been third party dropping bangers. I agree with you though that I think long term Game Pass, if we still stick with $80, is going to be like a very attractive option for people.
That was good for me.
Yeah, right. Like when I look at all the games that are coming out in April,
I'm lit.
You want to spend 80, 70, 60, even 50 on all of those, or just download them part of your subscription service? Like I don't blame you for thinking that way, and how I feel is the same. It's like, it's excellent value. So I think it could benefit them long term, but I am curious why there hasn't been number updates, and you got to wonder if like they're connected with some of the this.
That's fair. You know, I think that's fair. Yeah.
So we'll see. But Xbox continues to focus on PC here, Cog. So we move into our final news story of the episode here, and it's that the Steam library is coming to Xbox insiders on the PC Xbox app. They write on the Xbox Wire, hey, Xbox insiders, starting this week, users enrolled in the PC gaming preview can get a first look at the new aggregated gaming library in the Xbox PC app for Windows 11 PC, and handheld devices. The feature will be available this holiday on the ROG Xbox Ally and ROG Xbox Ally X, where players will see their aggregated gaming library within the new Xbox full screen experience. With this feature, your Xbox library, hundreds of Game Pass titles, membership required, and all your installed games from other PC game stores are always at your fingertips. With the aggregated gaming library, players can conveniently launch from Xbox, Game Pass, Battle.net, and other leading PC storefronts from a single library within the Xbox PC app. Whether you're on a Windows PC or a handheld device, your Xbox library, hundreds of Game Pass titles, and all installed games from these leading PC storefronts are at your fingertips. When a player installs a game from a supported PC storefront, it will automatically appear in My Library within the Xbox PC app, as well as the most recent list of titles in the sidebar, making it easier than ever to jump back into your games. And this is just the beginning. We'll continue rolling out support for additional storefronts over time. So how you get started is as long as you have game titles installed from supported PC stores, you should see them listed in both My Library as well as the most recent section. If you'd prefer not to see these titles listed, you can select your profile picture and select settings, then select library and extensions, and you will see available storefronts, and then select hide for each storefront, and those titles will no longer appear. So the integration beginning here as we get the next gen announcement. We know that no doubt you'll be able to play Steam games on this ROG Ally, integrating to the library. We know that this library is reportedly this sort of UI is the scheme for next gen. So it's all coming together. And once more, we have to talk about Sarabon mentioning multiple storefronts when talking about the next Xbox console. So Cog, Steam, Xbox integration, Epic Game Store, Xbox integration. It's all here. How are we feeling about this, Mr. Xbox Insider? We actually do have a write in here. Sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Mystery writes in, Dookie Wookies, I have a simple question. With Xbox going in a more PC-oriented direction and Valve potentially releasing new Steam machines for the living room, what do you think is going to be the impact on the gaming market when the traditional console as we know it, quote, dies, end quote? I can see a future where Nintendo is the only remaining traditional console maker and it's competing with PCs from Microsoft, Valve, and Sony. Is this the future you look forward to? What do you think will be gained and lost when this comes to be? Will physical games / cartridges become collectible like fine art in 15 years? Awaiting this strange future with trepidation and excitement, Mr. Mystery. Thank you for the write-in, Cog. Back to you.
Yeah, good question, man. Again, uncharted territory. Dogs and cats sleeping together, wild times right now. For me, as an Ally user, I already had a precursor to this because Armory Crate already kind of did this kind of stuff where depending on what games you owned on the device, it would show up regardless of storefront. And it would have, okay, you have Death Stranding here on Xbox, or you have Death Stranding here or whatever, this game on Steam. All the storefronts would show up. All right, this is cool. And then obviously when I got a chance to go hands-on with the ROG Xbox Ally X, now this is Xbox-centric and unified inside the ecosystem. And look, man, I guess the rumors are true. Remember the screenshot? We were like, oh, bro, it ain't Steam. Remember it was the leaked screenshot. And I was like, bro,
yeah,
that's a very interesting mistake to make. So they've been plotting. They've been plotting on doing it. And I think this is where they look to completely pivot to change the game. And I think this is the huge bet that they're taking. I will say that the part that I think is very interesting is by doing the consolidation of the storefronts, what you are doing is getting them to jump into your ecosystem and feel comfortable with your ecosystem, seeing everybody else. While you do that, you're more inclined to stay in that ecosystem, right? Because basically before the PC guys, you go to your Steam storefront, you stay there, or then you just jump into Xbox Game Pass. But if you have it all there, right? And then if you notice lately with the browsers, how they do it is like, for example, Battle.net and Ubisoft Plus, and I think EA right now, on the Xbox app on PC, if I launch Diablo or whatever, it's going to take me to Battle.net. So I think they call it an extension. That's the technical term. And that extension points you to the other store, right? So they are facilitating this big time. Now, this is where I think the reason why I think they're very aggressive now is because I think the mistake that happened with the ROG Xbox Ally X reveal is it put the fear in the console guy. Like, wait a minute. Oh, no, we're going to lose our console game. We won't play the next generation Xbox is not going to play on my game. And that's why that AMD, Sarah Bond, Lisa Sue, whatever her name is, I forget the name, Linda or Lisa, I forget, from AMD, came out and said, whoa, no. For Xbox console, you will have your whole library. And that to me is all that matters because no one wants to invest in this ecosystem for all these years and figure out you ain't gonna support console no more, which we finally got confirmation they're going to do that. And then two, bro, what you mean all my games I can't play? Like, nah, son, don't give me no PC Game Pass only type situation and then all my games are gone, right? So I think this is huge. I think this is a big deal. This is the bet that they're taking. We will see how successful, but I mean, I can just only speak selfishly for me. That's what I want. Only from the standpoint of this, I don't lose my console stuff. I'm playing on PC anyway, right? I'm playing on all these storefronts anyway. So if you're giving me the big boy in front of the TV, OLED experience, and then I could fire up Steam or I could that is dope to me. That's the one-stop shop. I don't personally like playing games. This the way I'm structured as a gamer. I don't like playing games here because this to me, Maddie, is work. Like I'm podcasting here. I'm doing business here. That's gaming to me is the living room and I can relax, feet up. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I consume, right? And that's why the console will always be dear and dear to me. What they've got to figure out is my last point. They've got to figure out either some form of what I consider a console default. So, because you know how like when you was on the Ally, right? And I said, yo, bro, use these settings.
Yeah.
They need a standard that's already done. The console guy don't have to deal with it's a default Xbox PC / setting that is by default that the game is stable and there's no tweaking, twisting, turning knobs and AMD FSR anything and turn off the volumetric lighting and turn off, you know what I'm saying, the V-Sync. Nobody's trying to do that from a console standpoint. So what they need to do is for the other storefronts where you access the games on next-gen Xbox consoles with a multiple storefront, have a preset that is by default. You do that, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get people. Now, again, to the Colin question, to the money question, where it's like, hey, how do they benefit? I don't know, right? 100%. But what I do know is they rather get your money from all these different stores, or whatever that percentage is, more or less, than you just locked into their ecosystem. It's clear as day they're doing this. I'm a consumer. Let the bean counters worry about that. Yeah. Let me keep my Game Pass. Yeah. Let me have my call. You guys figure it out. You let me do what I want to do. I ain't here to be doom forecasting about how they. That's their job. They get paid the big bucks to do that. I'm a consumer. I'm here to consume. Thank you. That's where I'm at. I like that you're getting to exist. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I don't think I have much more to add on top of that. You kind of covered all the bases there. I just think it's good to see this. The integration is moving along at a pace that we kind of expected to. Like, okay, get this going before the ROG. It feels like my brain plan is kind of their plan. Like, okay, get it in for the ROG Ally X. Let us be the guinea pigs. Let's figure out all the nooks and crannies of this. See how it works. See how it feels. Go from there. So I like that it's how it's timing out here.
I do have a question for you, because you, as a person who consumes lately more on PC and all the platforms, right? How does that environment, that next generation console even appeal to you? Because you haven't been on console primarily. You've really been on PC. Or is a situation where it's like, you know what, I'm still good over here. I'll play on my high performing PC. They gonna bring the games to me anyway. So I'll stay where I'm at. There's no need for that. That doesn't necessarily incentivize me to buy their next gen. Because I'm just looking at your consumption habits.
Yeah, I think for me, it's weird. I kind of go through moods. Like when I was playing Death Stranding, I was like sitting on this little couch here, just playing on my console and my TV. And like, that was nice, just kicking my feet up and not really doing the whole playing at the workstation thing. I think it always depends on the game. Ultimately, last year, like a lot of games just were like very PC oriented for me. I think what I care most about, and what maybe the Xbox Ally can kind of answer, is like taking my Xbox games on the go in a way where I can install them. You know, I have a lot of options. I didn't realize until this vacation, right, that I talked about. I have a lot of options for getting my Xbox games on the go when I want to stream them. Oh, I have cloud streaming options up the ass here, man. It's fucking crazy. But when it comes to install devices and playing offline, it's like, I got my ROG Ally, but as I just learned, this thing does not last. It's got no
battery life.
You know, that battery life is poo-poo. So I'm hoping Xbox Ally is probably not going to be much better, but that's the main thing I care about. I'm definitely like, I'll game usually on my PC, but it's about when I leave my PC. How do I take it with me? How can you enable to have more storefronts available where if you have one device that holds all these storefronts, I can access all these libraries. That is great news for me, because that would help me out with, you know, what's that extra hour or two of gaming I do on the couch or in bed. And so if I have access to all my libraries on one device, excellent.
Okay. So, yeah. Just curious. I was always wanting to ask you about that.
My habits, I guess, with gaming is like, I'll just kind of play anywhere. I think like it's working for me, right? Like PC was working a lot last year. Console gaming the year before that. This year, I've been really in my handheld group and loving handheld. That's usually where I like to be since the Switch came out. Switch 1, I should say.
Yes.
So yeah, like I think that's probably where I'll end up. I love to play in handheld.
Okay.
Honestly, I'd be in handheld all the time if I didn't have to record gameplay.
Yeah, because you need the gameplay to do your video.
Yeah, so
I got you.
So fuck you all. You fucking ruined my good time. All right. That's all the news. Game Pass pick of the week time, Cog. I realized I didn't fill it out.
Oh, yeah.
And you didn't fill it out.
And I didn't fill it out.
So why don't we just combine for 2 random ass picks off the top of our head? Just have a little fun with it. I'll go first.
Okay.
I was thinking a little bit about, I took a scroll through the PC app, of course, just, as one does before in the middle of their own show.
Professional podcast. Do here.
I saw a couple of games that caught my eyes like, oh, like I know I've shouted these out before, but So I got two that I kind of want to go around. It's funny, if I played Rematch, I feel like that would be the obvious pick here, but I don't want to be disingenuous and be like, yeah, go check out this thing I never played.
Yeah.
There's two. And they're both Nickelodeon games. One is the 30-year-old here, by the way. The Nick All-Star Brawl 2 is on Game Pass. And I did not remember this was on Game Pass, but I liked the first one a lot. I got the platinum trophy for it. But the second one's like a huge improvement. Like the fighting's great. The roster is huge. They have voice acting for it, which was a big complaint of the first one. The stages are great. They have a story mode there, an arcade mode. Like it's very content rich. And if you're into Smash Bros style games, I can't stand the Nick All-Star Brawl slander. Like I think that game rules. And people were like, yeah, it died in a week. I'm like, bro, it was still fire. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't have the pull that Smash does for a lot of people, but the roster announcements are crazy. I think they got a little weird with some of the announcements for Nick All-Star Brawl 2. Could have done a little bit better with that, but overall, awesome game. Other one I want to shout out is the Patrick Star video game.
Which one?
This was recently added to Game Pass. It didn't review tremendously, but this is a game that is a sandbox physics-based open world bikini bottom game.
Okay.
I think it's just a fun time, like throwing Patrick into these random scenarios and just, watching him destroy Bikini Bottom. It's about as chaotic as you can imagine. I played it a little bit on Switch. Doesn't run extremely well over there. But, as a kid growing up with SpongeBob, like that show is evergreen as hell, man. But it also, just having like a true open world SpongeBob game is pretty cool. And having Patrick get his own game is also really cool. It comes from Outright Games, who also did the TMNT Mutants Unleashed video game, the one that you and I talked about. That was like the Persona style TMNT game. And it's like kind of one of those mixed bag games where it's got some good ideas, not perfectly executed. But just again, if you're looking for like dumb bikini bottom fun, which one might be looking for at times, that's a good place to find some. So those are my two Nickelodeon driven selections, Cog.
This was a tough one for me because obviously I was stuck with alters and stuff like that. And then I got to shout out Jez, man. We had him on ILP this Sunday, and he mentioned, he's like, I got one for you. And I was like, really? He was like, Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader.
Oh.
Turn-based.
Oh.
He's like, he's like Wasteland 3 energy. I was like, slow down. Come on, Jess.
I heard good things about it.
Slow down. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, full disclosure. I just downloaded. I just got to like a few. I didn't do anything yet. So I can't give the full thing.
Well, you're playing by the way,
I'm playing a dangerous game.
You're playing a very dangerous game, literally, because I know this is a long ass game. If you end up,
I know. Bro. And I'm like, Jez, why you do this to me? He's like, Cog, I'm telling you, turn-based. Choice of consequence, great lore for the universe. And I'm like, bro, it's crazy because lately, now I'm completely new to this universe, but like, remember I did Space Hammer the 2, right? The Titan Strike. 1 just came back on the Game Pass. That's another one that I could have recommended. And then they're saying this kind of fills out the universe even more. So, and then I at Summer Games Fest, I played the DLC. Was it Dark Tide? Bro, that game is dark. I think the new one where they got like a.
Is it like a Left 4 Dead style game?
Yeah, but it's like a sword. He bashing people.
Well, it's Dark Tide. Yeah.
Yeah, I played that. That is amazing. I was like, bro. And I was like,
games cooked now, dude. They've cooked for a while, but they're really good.
I'm completely new. And it's like my Game Pass pick is like, bro, y'all better get in this Warhammer joint. Like, I'm literally starting to get into this universe late, but they've got a lot of cool games to really try. So that's probably my 2-part suggestion, which is like the Rogue Trader, the obviously the part 1 to was it the Space Marines joint, and again the backlog continues, bro. So all games I've started, but I can't give you the full extensive review just yet. But Rogue Trader definitely caught my eye from a turn-based standpoint. I was like, wow, this is pretty impressive.
100%. All right, well, we survived. We managed to do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That about does it. I'm looking at the timing of our recordings, bro. I was not expecting a near 4-hour show.
Considering we're supposed to be the light week.
I literally sent it to you, and I was looking at it. Normally, I send it to you as a joke. I'm like, big week this week, and it's like the script was short, but I don't know, bro. I was like looking at our topics, like, how the hell did we do this?
Did we get off into this?
We're really bad at wrapping it up, man. I don't know. Pause. But Cog, we got to this point of the show. Naturally, that means we need a hashtag. What are we feeling?
What do we think? Well, the main thing is kind of like the layoff thing, right? I mean, that was
that's a major one. That's definitely the title of the video. Is it tasteful to be like DD layoff? Hit us up.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to be respectful. I was like, like
DD lost your job. Like
DD unemployed. Like, we got to be sensitive here to what's going on. But at the same time, it is, something to talk about.
You're trying to work the angle.
I'm trying to work it, but I can't.
Rallying the troops, like, let's spread awareness of DD unemployed.
I don't know. I definitely don't want to use that. But it's like something tasteful that determines that, stuff is going on in the industry, man.
Yeah.
DD turnover? I don't know. What you think? You want to stay away? Let's stay away from it.
Yeah, we'll stay away from the layoffs.
Like, stay away from
now that I've laughed, I feel like anything's going to come across like, we know how you really feel, Matt.
So where you want to go?
Oh, man.
You had a lot.
Yeah, this is a tough one because
it's a tough one.
We have the DD integration. We have the integrated storefronts.
We got DD storefront. I mean, that's a big one. I mean, for the people that
we haven't done that, have we? DD storefront.
We haven't done storefront.
That's a good. I like that. That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Ladies and gentlemen, you got this deep. Use the hashtag DD storefront. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, or if you're on social media. I am at G27status. Cog is at Lord Cognito. You tag us there. Again, use the hashtag DD storefront. Let us know your thoughts on the episode and the conversation. Cog, it's just passing 9 p.m., so it's time for us to wrap this thing up. Any final thoughts?
Nah, crazy light news week, but we had a lot to talk about for whatever reason.
Yes, we did.
But it was a dope show. A lot of fun stuff to talk about. And things going on in gaming right now.
Yeah, I expect, I don't know, it depends on how bad the layoffs are, but I'm expecting a noisier week next week.
Next week, yeah, for sure.
We'll see if Xbox is kind enough to lay people off on a Tuesday or a Wednesday morning, right? That seems to be the days they get down to business. Time will tell. We'll be here to talk about it all in episode 235, Defining Duke and Xbox podcast. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, take great care of yourselves and peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.